FM HD2 and streaming live at ArizonaSports.com. The guys are powered by the law offices of Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. And now on your ESPN station in Phoenix, ESPN 620, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
Zeros on the clock. The Flares fly skyward, and the Eagles not just beat, but annihilate the Washington Commanders 55-23. What a day, what a win, what a crowd, what a team, what a season. But it's not over yet. Going to a knee. You can't doubt the Chiefs. You can dislike the Chiefs. You can disrespect the Chiefs. You're going to have to deal with the Chiefs being the first team in National Football League history to win back-to-back Super Bowls and go to the Super Bowl for a chance for a three-peat. The Kansas City Chiefs have just done something that's never been done. And the Kansas City Chiefs Kingdom Rocket has gone past Pluto. The Chiefs win the AFC Championship 32-29.
And for the second time in 3 years, the Kansas City Chiefs. And for the second time in 3 years, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles collide in the Super Bowl. Welcome in, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B right here on ESPN 620. Got you for the next 3 hours here from the studios of ESPN 620. So after winning the last two Super Bowls, the Chiefs will now try to become the first in NFL history to win 3 straight. This will be the 5th Super Bowl appearance in the last 6 seasons for Patrick Mahomes and company as they edge the Buffalo Bills, as you just heard, 32-29 in the AFC Championship game. And for the Eagles, they look to avenge the last time they played in the Super Bowl against Kansas City, where they only lost by 3, 38-35, as they just absolutely destroyed the Washington Commanders yesterday, 55-23. And now their 3rd Super Bowl appearance in 8 seasons. Chiefs, they open up as slight favorites right now, as they are a 1.5 favorite. The over-under right now is 49.5, according to DraftKings Sportsbook, which will be next Monday and Tuesday at TPC Scottsdale. So it's the Chiefs and the Eagles, 4:30 next Sunday. Not this Sunday, but the following Sunday from New Orleans. We will be hosting the big watch and win party at Weekapaw Casino Resort. We'll tell you more about that throughout the afternoon and the week. But my Eagles are there.
Well, Roc, congratulations.
Thank you.
Bills fall short
I worked hard
again.
for it.
Yeah, I was going to say you did a lot, Roc.
Yeah,
did a lot.
Bills fall short once again, and that's unfortunate when you think about, 3 straight years in modern era NFL football, free agency with, the cap, and with all the things you got to get to year in and year out, the different the different kind of receivers, different running backs, different linemen, and with Andy Reid and his staff, Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator, Andy Reid calling the offensive plays, it's amazing to see that they have 7 straight AFC West titles, and here they go with 4 out of the last 6 Super Bowls. They're going to be showing up. Andy Reid going for his 4th Super Bowl title to get it done once again. Just in modern era football, guys,
Right.
This is going to be very, very rare moving forward.
How does this sit with you? DeAndre Hopkins in the Super Bowl.
Or how about Hollywood Brown?
in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, both those guys were Arizona Cardinals. Let's just be honest. They were here for what? Hopkins 2 years.
That's it.
Brown 1 year,
Yeah.
never even really
You could
played.
say rent a players.
These guys weren't Cardinals.
I know,
So,
but
to your
it's
point.
Still, I know. It's still
Good for
that
them.
And
Good for them.
Zach Ertz all the way to the
He
championship
didn't play
game.
very long either. Now, if you would have said somebody like a quarterback that's been here for a while or an offensive lineman that's been here for a while, those guys, come on. All 3 of those guys didn't make a splash at all.
I know.
If you
But
think
they
back,
were on the roster.
They were supposed to make a splash, and they never did.
well, and I think if you think back to your point, Rock, if you get back of guys that were drafted, developed, one of the things that I think of is like a Simeon Rice. He was here, moved on in free agency to Tampa Bay, won a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think those are some of the guys you're thinking about, Rock. But I'm like you. Okay, it's good to see that Hollywood Brown, he did enough. D-Hop did enough. Did they serve their purpose? Kind of, sort of. Last year, D-Hop was here. He was off and on injured.
Right.
But I think if you see with good players or outstanding players like that, what D-Hop had 1 catch Brown had, 4 or 5 key catches to kind of get the game going. I think you see them with a good offense, with a franchise quarterback, with a guy, a head coach that knows how to handle his offense in big games. You really see these guys shine the light. Because I think when you look at this receiving core of the Chiefs, it's by committee. I really feel it is by committee. And there's this guy named Travis Kelce.
Oh, I remember him.
Yeah, he happens to be in the middle of it. So I think what you see is guys like that going there. And how about Juju? He's back with the Chiefs.
Is.
I mean, here you go. You recycle the guys back. They know the offense. They know what it takes.
Kareem Hunt as well.
Kareem Hunt. And who's to say that you can have players that are solid? They may not be in their prime. But, when Andy Reid knows how to use him, he knows how to run an offense. He understands the defense he's going against. And this game yesterday, quite frankly, was a pretty evenly matched game the whole time. When you look at yardage, you look at turnovers. 4 out of 6 going on 4th down conversions for the Bills. I questioned some of those 4th down attempts, but they're 4 for 6. And but when you get guys that understand their roles in offenses, I think that's where you see the success of this Kansas City Chiefs team.
I think there's some similarities. Jack's our fine Notre Dame
aficionado.
Yeah, it's not going to like this, but I was making a case about a week ago that there were a lot of similarities to Nick Sirianni and Ryan Day. No respect at all during the season. There were talk of both of them getting fired at one point.
Much maligned.
And then the game starts the same way as the national championship. Washington has this incredible, run. Their first series, they get all the way down. They only get 3. And they're on the board, and you're like, okay, man, this is going to be a game. And then what happens? Just like Ohio State, they get the ball. Philly gets the ball. They score on a 60-yarder by Barkley right away, and then it just started. I mean, I just see there's some similarities of the national championship, or at least Ohio State and the Philadelphia Eagles. Not a lot of similarities, but there are some. When you look at the both head coaches, and you look at how the game started. I'm just looking at this and it's like, all right, this is
I thought the kickoff return after that long drive to the 40.
Yeah.
What a great statement. It's like Philadelphia's going, look, we're going for it today. I like that return. And the next play got a 60-yard scamper for a touchdown by Saquon Barkley. When I saw him, I went, it's on.
It's on. Manuch, how about this? You cannot, in any game, and you know this better than anybody, turn the ball over the way Washington did. And the Eagles capitalized on every turnover to put points on the board.
Yeah, that's kind of the Detroit Lions. You can look at their 4 turnovers, the 4 turnovers yesterday. But the thing is, the Eagles took advantage of them. Every one of them. They scored off those turnovers. Yep. I think they were 7 for 7 in the red zone. I mean, you can do so many different things, but 7 and 7 and to capitalize on those particular turnovers is going to be huge when you watch what's going on. And Eckler, he coughed up 2 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, he guys hardly ever fumbles. But the thing was, I think what the Eagles do on defense, they look to punch the ball, they look to grab the ball. They're very good as far as turnovers on average in each of these games.
Let's hear from some coaches that were announced today. We'll get more into sound coming up from the game. We have a lot to get into, of course, from yesterday. But 2 coaches were introduced. Jerry Jones, for some reason, late on Friday night, announced that Brian Schottenheimer was going to be the next head coach. He has been the offensive coordinator for the last 2 seasons. Here he is today in the introduction talking about taking risks and taking shots.
Without this thing being about me in any way, if you don't think I can't operate out my comfort zone, you're so wrong. So believe this is as big a risk you can take. As big a risk as you can take. No head coaching experience. Now let me share some with you. With all of that, you just heard him reference his osmosis, his family. Anybody in this room that doesn't believe the apple doesn't go far from the tree has missed it someplace down the road, especially if there was an effort to make it that way, and there was an effort. But then you go around to the countless numbers of coaches that Shotty has served on staff with and been around, the countless players. How often do you have someone that has 25, I want to say 25, it may be 26, of years of working through the human relationship and working, aspiring to learn of how does it ears and eyes wide open, for techniques and looking for things.
Okay, I can appreciate the hire. I mean, he's got a lot of experience. He's been there, done that. It's one of those hiring from within. You want to keep continuity within the Dallas organization. But for Jerry Jones to throw that in everybody's face, and I defy you that this is I said, Jerry, okay, we get it. Why you go, this is a first, and doggone, I'm gonna pump it down your throat, but here's the accolades for this young man. I'm like, Jerry, just relax. There's a lot of teams. You look at Ben Johnson, his first head coaching job. Look at some of the other. It's like, okay, Jerry, that's fine. You have the tools. He's a voice that can relate with the offense. He'll get a defensive guy from there. Maybe brings back the current defensive. I don't know, but it's like, all right, Jerry, we get it. Why are you so defiant and challenging everybody that you're going to make him your first year coach? He's been coaching for over 25 years on top of that.
I'm to the point where I thought it was awful the way he opened it. He embarrassed Schottenheimer immediately with his opening statement, and I found that just to be god awful. But when you got an old man like that, they say stupid stuff. Look at me. Well, I say stupid stuff all the time.
It was like, well, yeah, he's our stepchild, but how about this guy is deserving?
Yeah,
of
how
a head
about
coaching
that?
Job. He knows this team. He knows this locker room.
Yeah.
He understands what it's going to take once everybody's healthy to get us back to the playoffs, maybe a Super Bowl.
New York Jets, they introduced Aaron Glenn, of course, the former player for the Jets. And if you're a New York Jet, you got to like this guy.
So any players that's here now, put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride. Put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride. Listen, there are going to be some challenges. But when challenges becomes opportunity, But here's what I do know. We're the freaking New York Jets. We're built for this.
Love it. Love it. And
That's
then asked
awesome.
about Aaron Rodgers. Here's what he had to say about Aaron Rodgers.
Just a couple of things I want to nip in the bud. Listen, I came on Wednesday.
Job on Saturday, and we came here on Sunday and we started talking. Here's what I do know. Aaron Rodgers will be talked about. It will be talked about. We've already texted that communication with Aaron Rodgers. And as we continue to look at the roster, we'll make decisions accordingly. And that's with a number of people, right, on the team.
It's good stuff.
I love it.
Love it.
New
Hey,
sheriff
we're up
in
against
town.
it.
Yep.
We'll come back with our sounds for the weekend. Of course, it's all Chiefs and Eagles. That's all next here on ESPN 620.
Mark your calendars for Sunday, February 9th, because the only place you'll want to be is at Wecopa Casino Resort. This year, we're not just watching the big game. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B are giving away cash. Yes, you heard it right. Get ready to win big with our amazing cash prizes just for watching the game. Here's how you can score cash. $25 squares game every quarter, $100 prop bets, and a kickoff challenge. Earn $1 for every yard on every kick return. Plus, a chance at our progressive jackpot that keeps growing with every touchdown scored. Doors open at 2 and it's first come, first serve. No purchase necessary. Just make sure you're 21 or older and a Wecopa Fortune Club member. Get ready for the ultimate game day experience with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Don't miss out on the big game viewing party at Wecopa Casino Resorts.
There's going to be a lot more games that tickets get to that price. So if you want to be a part of them, you better buy season tickets. You better do it right now. You better sell it out because we're going to have a lot more games where this state wants to show up to. Buy your season tickets. Let's make that every single week of next year. Because why would you not want to be in that environment? I don't want the most fun place to be in college football. Why would you not want to do that every Saturday?
Get your Sun Devil football tickets today by calling 480-727-0000 or go online to sundeviltickets.com.
When you're hurt in a car, truck, or motorcycle wreck, Learn and Row will take you from wreck to check, from crash to with accident, and we'll help you with all the details in between. We'll help you get to the right doctors, even if you don't have health insurance. We'll help you get your car fixed. We'll help you get your doctor bills paid, and then we'll fight with the insurance companies to get you every dollar you deserve. Hurt in a wreck? Call Learn and Row. We're with you every step of the way.
Learn and Row is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
Arizona's headquarters for Toyotas is Wright Toyota. Hey, Rock, for my friends at Wright Toyota and Scott. Always find the right deal at Wright Toyota. Wright Toyota has been driving Arizona's home for years with their amazing service, pricing, and selections. I
Now, it's time for the top sounds of the weekend. Brought to you by the big game at Wekopa Casino Resort on Sunday, February 9th. Details at rockandmanuch.com. Now, let's get to the top plays and sounds of the weekend on ESPN 620.
Try the sisters again. You know they will. They're 3 for 3 on 4th down in this half. Allen push from behind. I think he got it.
That was it? It cut like that? That was horrible. Jax, that was
What
just
the
absolutely
what?
horrible.
Let's go,
We start
Cowboy.
another week with crappy freaking sound. Jeez.
Let it run.
God, let it breathe a little bit. I mean, that was a big part of the game.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
I mean, there's so much controversy, and we're going to get into that, of course, because some things have changed thanks to the NFL because of last week, what happened with Patrick Mahomes. So we'll dive in that. But let's get into some of the sound. Here is Patrick Mahomes. This is some post-game coverage, some sound. This is him comparing other Super Bowls.
Man, I'll tell you what, man, there's nothing better than playing in front of Arrowhead for an AFC championship, man. They had that thing rocking, and more than ever. And we needed them more than ever, man. That Buffalo team was as good as we've ever played.
All right, that was actually Kelsey. He didn't sound like Patrick Mahomes. Here's Patrick Mahomes.
Not necessarily. I put every single season as its own season. Every team's different. You get new guys. You get guys that have to step up in different roles. And so I just go about my business and just try to prepare everybody to be in the best possible situations to succeed. And obviously it'll be awesome. I think it'll be something I look back at the end of my career if we're able to go out there and get that three-peat. But at the same time, you just treat it as one season and one Super Bowl run, which is always hard to do.
Does sound like he's like part of the Muppets.
Kermit the Frog. He's got to clean his voice up a little bit, a little lower tone there.
But of course, you've heard the numbers. We're not going to break down the numbers with Patrick Mahomes. It's been an amazing story, and it continues to go on and on and on. Here's the coach, Andy Reid, to basically talk about how tough it is to stay great.
You think of all the ups and downs and arounds that you went through during the season, the injuries, all those things that have to just happen the right way. With the margin to win and or lose in this league is so small. The parity is unbelievable. And that's the way the commissioner and the owners wanted that, so that every city had a chance. And so it's just, some of these games are, they're gut wrenching. And I've got a lot of gut to wrench. So, it's one of those things. So you really have to, you got to hit it right, and it's got to come out right.
He'll make his 6th Super Bowl appearance, tying Hall of Famer Don Shula for the second most behind Belichick.
You think about the ups and downs of the Chiefs, and we talked about this year how they didn't really look like they were in sync the entire year until the last several games, until the playoffs come around. It was much like that last year as well. Remember all the injuries they had?
They did.
All the passes that were dropped by the receivers. And Andy Reid just does a great job. Of course, he's got Patrick Mahomes to help that out, to make sure that once that playoff format starts, that they're hitting on all cylinders like they did last year and they did this year. So that's the commonality of staying the course.
Let's go to Philly in the post-game sound. We'll start with Connor. Why don't you tee up Jalen Hurts as he's talking about Saquon Barkley taking them to the next level.
The standard is to win. That's my standard.
Bottom line. That's what, for any of the quarterbacks in these playoffs, that's the bottom line, is to go ahead and make sure that they get the victory, no matter how many stats you have, no matter whoever you're working with or what you're doing. And I think those are some of the things that both these quarterbacks, especially Hurts, he looked like the Jalen Hurts of old.
those two teams, despite the struggles that they had, and how many games the Kansas City Chiefs won that were just one-score games, they still won. And the two best teams are going to play for the title.
And I think that when we heard Andy Reid talk about the parity that the league wanted to develop for the owners, I think that's it. It is so difficult to win a game. And to that point there too, Jimmy, is that with all of the stars and guys that you have aligned, but you can have stars like a Hurts and a Saquon Barkley, but you got to give that offensive line a lot of credit.
Yes.
Give them a lot of credit. A.J. Brown came alive yesterday. The receiving core, look at the tight end. I mean, that was one of the more – both these games were the total balance on offense and these defenses making stops when they had to. So to your point, yeah, these are the two best teams from each division going to face off again. And I think the latest lines, was it 1.5 starts off? Yeah. It might be another one of those games that goes down with a field goal or something of that nature. But those are some of the things you look at is at the end of it, Roger Goodell and the owners, they want the two best. They want everybody else to have a chance.
Yeah, yes.
But eventually they want the two best.
So we get ready for 2 weeks of chatter in regards to the Chiefs and how many people out there can't stand this matchup, because there are so many people that don't want to see the Chiefs again. You know, they're in their 5th Super Bowl in 6 years. And then there are a lot of fans out there that just can't stand the Philadelphia Eagles and hate the Philadelphia fans. Mm-hmm. So that makes for a really good Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, a lot of chatter.
But don't like either team. Yeah, so you're gonna want to watch it.
Yeah,
I'm a football purist. I want to see the two best teams play together. I don't care who it is.
You also want to see history. I mean, this is a dynasty.
That's I do. I want to see two best teams, and that's the key right there, is to accept that this could be. Folks, we're living in an era where we may never see this ever again because of the parity.
Yeah,
we may never see a team win 3 in a row. I think the Dallas Cowboys might have been the last team to have a chance to win 3 in a row, and then they got beat.
I don't know, but you could make a case that when the New England Patriots are having their dynasty, we said, well, we're never going to see anything like this again. And here we are with the Chiefs. Who's to say we're not going to see the Jacksonville Jaguars in 5 years, or the New York Jets, or whomever it is?
I just think it's so difficult today's league because of the free agency, because of the parity.
In their 5th Super Bowl in 6 years. Must not be that difficult.
But look at the teams aside from Philadelphia, the other teams that have the Rams, the Tampa Bay, all the others that could not maintain. They're at the top the last 5 or 6 years. You look at Tampa Bay, won 1. The Rams have been to 2? They won 1 of those. Patriots have been several years.
What's the common denominator, Manuch? The common denominator is quarterback.
Yeah, I think
that's
the franchise.
The common denominator.
It's the franchise quarterback to start with, and then you build with the pieces around him.
Yes.
And then if that guy can stay healthy, and here's the other thing too, you guys, is staying healthy throughout the year or getting healthy at the right time, which the Chiefs are healthy at the right time and the Eagles are healthy at the right time.
Hey, coming up, we'll catch up with former NFL and Sun Devil quarterback Rudy Carpenter, get his thoughts on the quarterback play from this past weekend.
It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on their new home, ESPN 620.
As you heard from Jax, we will be out at Weekapaw for the Philly-Kansas City game. So you'll make some plans. Maybe in the third hour today, we'll give you an opportunity to win some VIP to be out there with us and hang out and enjoy what all the festivities we have, like giving away over $15,000 in cash and prizes, also big screen TVs. This thing's going to be an enormous watch and win party. So we hope that you'll make plans for next Sunday to join us. We open the doors at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock. So that's next Sunday at Weekapaw. Rudy Carpenter joins us now on the Right Toyota guest line as it's Chiefs and Eagles. Is that who you had predicted going into the weekend there, Rudy?
Yeah, I mean that was my picks. Did I have any money on it? No. Did I place any bets? No. Did I think that's how it was going to go? I did. I would also say that I'm not one of those haters that wants to quote unquote see somebody new. I would have loved to see Josh Allen and the Bills get an opportunity to play in the Super Bowl and possibly win, but I also think it's incredibly awesome to watch the history and the greatness of the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes and his teammates. I think it's incredible what they're doing.
Were you surprised that the Eagles blew them out, the Commanders?
That's a tough question. I think that I've been very surprised all year long with how well Jaden Daniels has played, with how consistent that he's played. I think he's just really been incredible. And I think obviously he's going to have an incredible future. Did I think that at some point it would catch up to him, and at some point him being a rookie and not having the experience and all of that, thought it would catch up at some point? Yeah. Did I think that they were going to get blown out like they did? No, I can't say that.
Well, I think when you turn the football over 4 times, it's very difficult for anybody to come off of that. And this team was, the Eagles, 7 for 7 in the red zone. So just trying to combat that. But I really thought Jaden Daniels, when watching him in the game, I thought he handled himself well, made some key completions. We only lost the one football per se. But, overall, this kid really, really shined throughout the biggest moments of his young rookie career.
Yeah, I think that's true. He's really, really played. I think Vic Fangio said, he's young, just according to, his birth certificate, and just what the program, the game day program says, the amount of years he's played in the NFL. He's young that way, but when you watch his tape, he's played incredible. Whether it's just been first and second down and staying ahead of the chains, whether it's been his plan and the way he's executed on third down and every third down situation, whether it's how he's handled the different blitzes and pressures that have been thrown his way, he's done incredible. The anticipation, the accuracy, the timing, the ability to throw wide receivers open, the decision making on when to use his legs and when not to. I just think in every single capacity of a football game, I think that Jaden Daniels has been incredible, all year long. And if he can continue to play the way that he did this year, he's going to be another guy that we're talking about as an all-time great.
And then on the other side, and watching Patrick Mahomes, and by the way, I agree with you. I love watching the Chiefs or going way back to the Steelers or the Patriots or the 49ers, et cetera. So they're kind of the quasi-dynasties, if all dynasties continue on. But when you watch Patrick Mahomes, Rudy, just year in, year out, staying the course with different receivers, not so much different tight ends, but the commonality is how much on the same page he is with his head coach and Andy Reid.
Yeah, you said it right there. I mean, that whole organization has done a great job. I mean, I think people forget, Patrick Mahomes was playing on a Texas Tech football team every year that he was there, that they were a 500 record. He had a lot of interceptions in college, and people would knock that as well. But when you go back and watch, the vast majority of those interceptions weren't bad throws or bad decisions. They were throws that he had to make in desperation just to try to give his team a chance to win a football game. But it goes all the way back to their scouting department and their front office. I mean, you take Patrick Mahomes, wherever they took him, 15th in the draft or, whatever it is. Just put it this way, it wasn't first, and he'd be the first pick now in every draft moving forward, right? So, they were able to have the foresight on Patrick Mahomes to take him in the draft. I believe Travis Kelce was a 4th-round pick for them. That's become, definitely a Hall of Fame type guy, right? If you look, throughout their roster, they have guys splattered all over that roster of guys that weren't really the most coveted players in that year's draft class. And so they've proven to be able to do an amazing job on the scouting side and the draft side. And then Andy Reid and his team and his defensive coaching staff, they have also been able to continue on and be able to use those players and put those guys in the best possible position to succeed. One more thing before I get too long-winded. I think that one of the things that Andy Reid has done a great job of that people don't talk about enough is when you have this success that the Chiefs have had and that Andy Reid has had, especially on the offensive side of the football, you're going to get your coaching staff. Guys are going to, other organizations, other teams are going to come after those coaches and try to hire them away from that current team, in this case being Kansas City. And Andy Reid has been able to do an unbelievable job of just constantly replacing that quarterback coach, constantly replacing that offensive coordinator, constantly replacing whoever it's been that have been in and out of that locker room and in and out of those meeting rooms. And that's not an easy thing to do. It's actually a very difficult thing to do. And Andy has done an incredible job with things changing around him and changing around that team and organization, but at the same time, keeping everything the same and keeping the continuity there, which has really allowed Patrick Mahomes to flourish in his development.
Rudy Carpenter's our guest on the Right Toyota guest line. Rudy, when you go back now and you look at the recent Super Bowl teams, the common denominator is every team had a stud quarterback. So if you are going to retool your team, you definitely have to begin there. But is your second option then putting together a sound offensive line to protect that stud quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, look, everybody knows that the quarterback is, you're only going to go as far as your quarterback. And look, I believe that. Of course, you can look at, the Trent Dilfer era, Baltimore Ravens and say, well, maybe you get around it. But in my viewpoint, there's no question that quarterback is the most important piece. He's the most important guy on the roster. But with that being said, myself, if I was a GM and I was building a team, without a shadow of a doubt, I mean, the most important things to me is building in your offensive and defensive line. I just think that, the things that you need in order to have a winning football team and organization that's going to be able to consistently win year in and year out, to me, you're only going to be able to do that if you have a very, very, very good offensive and defensive line. If you can protect the passer, if you can keep that guy on his feet, if you can allow that guy to stand back there and throw the football, which is what you're paying him all that money to do, it's going to make life easier. But on the flip side, if you can have a defensive line that can just ruin games, that can get after the quarterback, get him off his spot, disrupt his timing, disrupt his accuracy, disrupt his ability to play the football game and execute the way they want to, it's just incredible. The hard part with that is that you have a lot of these general managers who are trying to build these teams. And when you're building these teams, it's a business. So you're trying to sell tickets. You're trying to get butts in the seats. I mean, at the end of the day, we know that's, what it's about. And unfortunately, so many of the media members and the fan bases, they want to see sexy picks. They want to see fast wide receivers. They want to see great cover guys. They want to see all of the skill positions. And unfortunately, when you're a GM and you seem to take, offensive guard in the first round, or a defensive tackle in the first round, or an offensive center in the second round, or another defensive tackle in the second round, and then another defensive end in the first round, and an offensive tackle in the first round. Fans get antsy. They get angry. They want to see the skill. But in my viewpoint, in today's era, and Dan, as you see, all of these skill guys are getting training. They're getting work, and everything is about skill development. Very, very rarely do you see offensive and defensive line development training. You can go to million parks here and in the weekends and weekdays, and you'll see quarterback coaches, receiver coaches, defensive back coaches, and you rarely see offensive line coaches. And so those guys are just so hard to find. So if I was building a team, without a shadow of a doubt, I'm building that team from the inside out.
He's Rudy Carpenter. As always, great stuff, buddy. Appreciate you. Next week, we'll get your prediction in the game.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Rudy Carpenter joining us here on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on ESPN 620. He is brought to you today by All City Towing. Join the team at the largest towing company in the state. And, of course, that's All City Towing. They have positions across the board. So if you're ready to take your career to the next level in 2025, the time is now. So visit them online at allcitytowing.com. That's All City Towing, where your future is on the move. So is it time to give Jalen Hurts his respect? I'm going to give you numbers that prove that you should give him the respect that's due. That's coming up. It's Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B.
It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on their new home, ESPN 620.
On behalf of the National Football League, it is my honor to present the George Halas Trophy to the National Football Conference champions, our Philadelphia Eagles.
How about those? That's what I'm talking about, baby.
Now we'll get to do something that's never been done before. Chiefs Kingdom, we're headed to New Orleans to make history.
There you have it. Eagles and Kansas City Chiefs off to the Super Bowl in New Orleans next Sunday. Fox FS1 had an interesting image, or what do you want to call it? A graphic. Thank you. Image graphic. Well, an image is a graphic.
Yeah,
right?
it is. Yeah.
So, all right. It's
yeah,
Monday.
you were good.
And they compared Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts last 3 seasons, including the playoffs. And they are so damn close. Patrick Mahomes is 48-10. Jalen's 42-12. Difference of 2 losses.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jalen's been banged up, so he hasn't played as many games. Points per game per team. Patrick is leading his team to about 25.5 points a game. Jalen 27.5, so advantage Jalen. Completion percentage 67.6 to 66.9. Basically 1% difference goes to Patrick. Total yards per game. This is the big difference in why Patrick Mahomes is making $50 million a year. 290 to 260. Big difference there. But when it comes to TD to turnovers,
interception
117 to 43, 121 to 39, and then if you care about passing rating, 98.5 to 97.6. Very close, but no one talks about Jalen.
No,
He's
they don't.
never in the MVP conversation. It's Allen, it's Patrick, and it's Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I think
very rarely you hear
Jalen.
And here he is taking his team to the Super Bowl second time in 3 years.
And he doesn't do it in a flashy way. He just wins.
Low key, quiet.
Real low key.
He is, yeah.
And I think the other thing too is, a lot of folks, not that you disrespect it, but you got Patrick Mahomes winning the Super Bowl, winning on. I think Jalen Hurts has always been one of the top-notch quarterbacks in the National Football League, period. Just his consistency, running the ball, as Rock, you pointed out, his efficiency as a quarterback, doesn't make the big mistakes, makes the big plays when he has to. And I think that's overlooked just because somebody else is a little more flashier. Somebody else is in the MVP running, the Lamar Jacksons, and you got the Josh Allens, and then you got the Patrick Mahomes. Those guys with the flashy numbers. But I think Jalen Hurts is content with, you know what, we're just going to win. We're going to win. We're going to put it along with. They win 9 out of 10 there at the end of the season. They're winning. He's been very durable. Couple injuries here and there, the concussion. A few weeks back.
He missed 2 games.
Missed 2 games.
Yeah.
But I think it's the way he does it. It's a very, might seem a little more not quite so flashy or conservative way. But I've always felt Jalen Hurts is just solid. He's just, he does what the offense does. And I think back at Sirianni, he even admitted after the presser they took the straitjacket off me, or they let me loose, so to speak.
That was funny.
He played awesome yesterday.
Played great.
And I sat there watching the game and I went, well, where's this been the entire season? Now, everybody played very well. And getting Saquon Barkley, I think Sirianni might have pulled the reins back going, look, Jalen, you don't have to go win games for us like you did a couple years ago when we went to the Super Bowl. We've got a Saquon. We've got a Brown. We've got this, and this. To that effect, not that it stunted the growth of Jalen Hurts. I just felt he didn't have to do as much to go put this on his shoulders like he did a couple years ago when they had the Super Bowl against the Chiefs.
Are you pretty excited that you get Taylor Swift back in the Super Bowl, Manuch? I know you're a big Swiftie.
Whatever. My whole concern, I want to see history being made. I love watching the dynasties, so to speak. And then if Philadelphia can upset them, okay, what a hell of a run the Chiefs have had. But look, here's the Chiefs. not a lot's been said. Hey, the Chiefs were here. I mean, the Eagles were here just 2 years ago, and they were in the hunt last year, and they're right back this year. So what about the Eagles organization led by Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni? And you were talking a little bit earlier about Ryan Day and all the grief he gets about not beating Michigan and some of the way he coaches. And here's Sirianni with some of the comments he made during the year. You know what? That's all forgotten when you get to the Super Bowl. Now it's about the team. It's about the guys. It's about a lot of things. And even Sirianni mentioned it yesterday in his presser that, hey, look, you know, we're all in the same thing together. No matter what I say or what I do, it all comes together in the end.
I think he's a great coach.
A hell of a coach.
He continues to get so much grief. I mean, yeah, you lose the Atlanta Falcons early on in the season. That wasn't a good loss, especially on Monday night. You get blown out by the Bucs, and then you lose the Commanders late in the season. That's really it. They weren't blowing teams out. You know, they barely got by the Colts. They barely got by a few other teams, but here they are. I mean, they dominated when they needed to dominate. I think the spread, you know, I understand they're the underdog, and I'm glad as an Eagles fan that we are an underdog. But I know Kansas City, you know, everybody, the pundits today, no one's really doing their predictions, but they're like, hey, you can't bet against the Kansas City Chiefs. I get that.
Sure.
I get that, but I just think that the Eagles are pretty well rounded right now from A to Z on that roster. They're not hurt. They're going to be very healthy.
I'm with you on that, Rock, 100%, but I find it interesting because of the reaction in Philly from that fan base, what you just talked about. Sirianni's got to go. And then you take a look at the Kansas City Chiefs, and we already talked about how many games they won by just one score. 7 or less.
Yeah.
It was like 7 games. And nobody's yelling for Andy Reid's head. It's just a total different dynamic.
They give him a little bit of a hall pass because he's got the Super Bowls.
I get that,
and I
but
think
still.
I agree with that a little bit. There's that dynamic that guy misses a field goal, they block a field goal. Otherwise, they may have 2 or 3 losses.
Exactly.
But you know what? They're still going to the Super Bowl.
It's a different fan base, though.
It is.
Yeah. That's all they have. They have nothing else. Yeah. The Royals, you know, in Philadelphia, you got the other 3 major teams. Phillies have had a lot of success. Flyers and Sixers have been bad, but it's a city that has had a lot of success in their sports. They've won titles, lots of titles.
I thought it was interesting, Sirianni talking about the so-called friction between he and his quarterback. He was open about it. He said, look, sometimes he didn't say friction, that brings a team together or is a little bit of a rub to improve guys. And I thought it was the comments that Hurts made yesterday about he finally let me loose.
Yeah.
Or he took my shackles off of the straitjacket. I was like, all right, here you go. The ball game is yours, Jalen. Not that he couldn't win it on his own, but I thought that friction was real. It seemed like I think it's kind of those comments, there was some real friction there that Jalen's like, look, Nick, what are we doing here? I know we're very conservative. I can get this done. So for whatever reason, Sirianni, I'll say, had the handcuffs on him at times. And I think now during the playoffs, he realizes this kid's got to play. Let him loose. Let him go. But that was actually a real deal when the media was speculating, there's some friction. Well, how do you know? Well, Sirianni put on the table yesterday that there were some friction yesterday.
Yeah.
Hey, on Wednesday, we will be at the new taco spot, the next new taco spot, grand opening alert on the 29th, which is this Wednesday. We'll be broadcasting from 1 to 4, but then once we're done, from 4 to 5, free food. Free food thanks to Lerner and Rowe. So it's the new Baseline and 16th Street location. This is store number 15 for the taco spot. So make sure you tune in or stop by this Wednesday as we'll be at the taco spot. Looking forward to that. You haven't been to one, have you? Either one of you guys?
No, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
I've driven by it many times. That CVS pharmacy is right on the corner, and taco spot's just east.
Many times, it's a grand opening, huh?
Yeah.
Many times.
Well, I mean, I've been in that area many times. That CVS,
okay.
Yeah, I'm out there.
Oh, okay.
He goes to the CVS to get his old man pills.
Yeah, I can see that.
Whatever it takes, Jimmy. Whatever it takes. Refill there, Manuch. Yeah.
It's been about, a year and a half.
Give or take. Yeah.
Hey, we'll have our G2G Protein Bar Game Changers of the Weekend. We'll catch up with ABC 15 Sports Director Craig Fooey for fact or Philly. But to start the hour off, of course, the final calls from the play-by-play guys from each team, the Eagles and the Philly and Philly. They're really good, so we're going to play those for you. And then we got some college hoops to get into, as Arizona State and Iowa State. It was a pretty good game until a big run by the Cyclones late in that one. So we'll discuss some of those games as well as the game tonight with Arizona. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B right here on ESPN 620.
It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, now on ESPN 620, 98.7 FM HD2, and streaming live at arizonasports.com. The guys are powered by the law offices of Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. And now on your ESPN station in Phoenix, ESPN 620, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
Zeros on the clock. The flares fly skyward, and the Eagles not just beat, but annihilate the Washington Commanders 55-23. What a day, what a win, what a crowd, what a team, what a season, but it's not over yet.
Going to a knee. You can't doubt the Chiefs. You can diss the Chiefs. You can disrespect the Chiefs. You're going to have to deal with the Chiefs being the first team in National Football League history to win back-to-back Super Bowls
and go to the Super Bowl for a chance for a three-peat. The Kansas City Chiefs have just done something that's never been done, and the Kansas City Chiefs Kingdom rocket has gone past Pluto. The Chiefs win the AFC Championship 32-29.
How great is that? The calls from Philly, the local.
How great are those calls from Philly and from Kansas City? Merrill Reese, who we had on the show on Friday, and then Mitch Holthus, who we had on Thursday. Great to have those guys on the show, and then boom, their two teams win. So they're the only two guys we had. We didn't want the Bills. We didn't want the Commanders.
Well,
we wanted the teams that were going to win.
We had Steve Tasker on.
Yeah, we
talking
did.
about his
Not the
Bills.
play-by-play guy.
No, we didn't. And then Mark May talked about his Commanders a little bit. You know, you watch those games and you just go. You see teams that are winning it all, and they just the teams you see going to the Super Bowl these last 5 or 6 years. You really see them hitting on all cylinders. And Rocky brought up the point. You know, Eagles are healthy. The Chiefs are healthy. And when you see these two teams, any teams come together, number one, you want to make sure everybody's healthy so nobody can say, well, so-and-so didn't play or he didn't play. You want all hands on deck. You want everybody healthy to say, hey, look, the best team of all is this team or that team. And so you remove any kind of doubt one way or the other. But, yeah, Mitch bringing it. And then, Mr. Reese bringing it as well as he can. But great calls at the end of the game.
ESPN is reporting that Jimmy Butler has been suspended indefinitely from the Miami Heat. So ESPN breaking that news at 2:00. So
doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me.
No, not me either.
I mean, this is long overdue.
Yeah.
I mean, why suspend him for 4 games? Why suspend him for 2 games? Just suspend his butt for the rest of the year. Send him home. Send him his paycheck. If you trade him, you trade him. If not, Pat Riley will say, well, then you can just sit home. And just hang out the rest of the year.
I just don't understand how you can suspend somebody, but you can still get paid.
Well,
that happened to any of us.
No,
Yeah,
no.
You're not getting paid.
Well, we don't have a union like the NBA union.
Well, if it's, I don't know if it's that has to be run by
got to end soon.
Well, I think he's basically very detrimental to the team. So that's a code of conduct thing for the team, which they still have to be paid. Now, if it was a crime or something he did where he got arrested or suspended for that, then there's variations to the CBA in reference to what's pay or what's without pay. Now, if it's a fight, and like Nurkic, let's say, for example, he was 7-game suspension. That was without pay.
Right.
Because that was something that happened on the floor. That was a fight. That's kind of a deal with the NBA that you can't do that versus a team code of conduct policy, which currently Jimmy Butler is doing. He's going to sit home and get paid.
Apparently, he went to the shoot-around because he was scheduled to be back on the team roster. Went to the shoot-around, was informed he was not going to start, and he walked out.
Well, okay, then go home.
Out.
Yeah, go home. And you read reports over the weekend
Don't
how
let the door hit you in the ass on the way out.
that's true. And you read the reports that it was really wearing on the team, the coaches, Pat Riley was done with him a while ago, probably trying to give him maybe somewhat the benefit of the doubt, if you will. But I think this is the right thing to do. I think it's long overdue, and I think that the league is probably welcoming this too.
So let me ask you, whose fault is this? Is it Jimmy Butler? Is it the Miami Heat? Or is it the CBA?
Well, the CBA is just reacting what's going on with the team, Rock. They're just reacting what the ownership and the player are doing. Now, the CBA will probably go and say, okay, what is the issue? Why is he being suspended? Ownership. They'll do that back and forth. But I think if Jimmy Butler is wanting to get traded for whatever reason, be a pro, act as though, okay, I can't control the other things. Go play, do the best you can, let the chips fall where they may. So I put a lot of this onus on Jimmy Butler from the standpoint of I think he's just a spoiled brat right now and is just trying to force the issue.
35 years old, wants to negotiate a new big contract. Look, if
max deal.
If the Suns jump into this deal and acquire him, I'm not offering him a big contract extension.
No.
And that's got to be up front. Dude, I am not giving that contract extension to you. As far as that would be for me, he would be a rent-a-player if the Suns decide to do that. And then here's the other issue, Rock. What if he comes in and he's dipwad like he is right now with the Heat.
Or
a
distraction. A distraction.
That's what I said. He's a dipwad.
Or he could flip the coin and be a good citizen.
Star. Yeah.
And be a star. So at that point, you go, okay, here's his history on teams, successful teams.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually he became a knucklehead.
There you go.
You know, there are a lot of a lot of websites that the bookies, have the trade deadline odds. And right now it's still minus 115 for Phoenix, and it's plus 300 that he stays for the Miami Heat, followed by the Mavs, Warriors, Rockets, and then Magic, and then it's plus 1,400 for the field. So if you're looking to make a bet there, but it's over 50% that it's coming here as Jimmy Buckets wants to be a Phoenix Sun.
And maybe,
I just don't know if you're a Heat fan. What are you doing today, or what have you been doing? You're like, just trade this guy already.
Yeah, get him out of here.
I mean, I don't know what Riley's trying to do. What's
well, he's trying to negotiate the best deal he can for the Miami Heat. He wants something in exchange. Now, that's something we don't know what it is. We're not privy to those conversations. But he wants, I would assume, a quality player in return and a draft choice or 2 draft choices.
Well, here's how I look at this. Like if any divorce, there's amicable divorces.
There are?
And there are.
I've never heard of those.
Well, anyway, or there's really tough. So this one seems to go, look, Pat Riley might get worn out and say, look, we want this guy gone. So his demands might be not quite as great as they were last week. Well, now he's suspending him. So it's kind of like, hey, Jimmy, we can do this my way or your way. Obviously, they're suspending him. So Pat Riley might lighten up on his demands that might become more serviceable for the Suns or whomever to deal for him.
Staying with basketball over the weekend, ASU and Iowa State, they battled. I got to tell you, the Sun Devils battled the number 3 team in the nation for about 35 minutes. They actually led 58-57 with 5:23 left in the game. Then it all fell apart.
It did.
Iowa State went on a 19-3 run. They ended up winning 76-61. It was at Desert Financial Arena. Curtis Jones had a career day, 33 points for the Cyclones. Adam Miller was the only ASU player in double figures. He had 13 points. So they missed a great opportunity to beat a team like that, which would have helped their NCAA net rankings when you look at the tournament picture. So now they'll have to sit back and continue to see if they can knock off some Big 12 teams. Now Iowa State's got Arizona tonight down in Tucson.
So the difference in that game is physicality, and Iowa State got to that 5-minute mark, and you just discussed what the score was. They were trailing just by a bucket, and then they went on that 19-3 run. They stepped at their defense. They forced turnover after turnover, or they forced Arizona State into a bad shot, rebounded the ball, and went the other way.
Jimmy, we've seen that before with the Sun Devil team. They're right there, but
they can't close.
That's it. Yeah, they can't close. And I couldn't tell, to your point, their defense picked up the KU game.
Yep.
Second half, the KU defense just got all over them, and they folded.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, that 5 minutes, ASU's up and going, what the hell just happened? So to your point, the physicality, and that one kid was hitting jumpers from the half court line.
He's a terrific player and a really good shooter, Jones is. He's a really good player. By the way, I was at that game. It was 60-40 as far as crowd. Iowa State fans, 60. ASU fans, 40. Iowa State fans showed up big time.
It's been a problem, and it's until they win some more games,
right?
And take a page out of Dillingham's book. Hurley has yet to be able to turn this program around to get people there. It's unfortunate. It just is. They don't get a lot of people. Kyle Dodd comes on our show quite a bit. He talks about it.
Right.
And the fact that it's just, as a color analyst, it's tough when you can't fill your own arena up, when you're playing in these Big 12 arenas when they're packed. Remember last week you talked about Cincinnati and how packed it was at Cincy, and then you come back here and you got the number 3 team in the country and it's 60-40 Cyclone fans. Even though the colors are similar, it's still, it's 60-40 Cyclones.
It wasn't a sold-out building, but it was reasonably close. Maybe within a couple thousand of being sold out.
Take that all day long.
Yeah, but it was 60-40 ISU.
Real quick, GCU, they improved to 5-1 on the WAC. They're 15-4 over the weekend. They won on the road, which was nice to see them take care of Utah Tech. They've won 4 consecutive games by 13 or more points for the first time since the 21-22 season. They're in second place in the conference. They'll play Seattle U on ESPN U 9 o'clock on Thursday night at Global Credit Union Arena. NAU, they made some history over the weekend too as they took care of Idaho. They're now 13-8, 4-4 in their conference. First time in the program history that they picked up a road sweep up there. So good for them as they took care of your alma mater, Jimmy. Eastern Washington on Thursday night beat them by 9.
Yeah.
So the rankings are out. Auburn is currently remains the number 1 team in the country. We'll get into some more of that later. But next, it is our G2G protein bar game changers for the weekend, and then we'll catch up with Craig Fouey in about 20 minutes. This is ESPN 620 98.7 HD2.
Again, did your favorite player make an incredible play or your team had a big upset? They probably know all about G2G protein bars, a refrigerated protein bar with unmatched taste. Grab and go goodness. G2G protein bars are now available at Costco.
That's right. Costco is where you can get the G2G bars. If you haven't tried them, you got to go to the refrigerated section, as you just heard from the big voice guy, only at Costco. All right, this is where we give you our game changers from the weekend. I'm going to start with the first series for Philadelphia on Sunday against the Commanders.
Hurts under center on first down. He pitches it out to Barkley. Takes off to the outside. He's at the 50. He's at the 40. He's at the 30. He's going to go. 15, 10, 5. Touchdown! Saquon Barkley, 60 yards on his opening touch.
He touched it, and he took it to the house. It's as simple as that.
Eagles, Merrill Reese, Mike Quick with the call there as Saquon Barkley's my game changer. He got $1.25 million in contract bonuses with that win yesterday as well. He's helped carry this Eagles team to the Super Bowl. He's nearly doubled his base salary for next season. He ran for 118 yards, 3 touchdowns in the blowout win over the Commanders. And you could go down the list, 250 for this, another 250 for that. Of course, there's even more money that he can make in the Super Bowl. He can add another $250,000 if they win. He could get another $1 million here for some incentives during the game as well. It's crazy. I mean, all the players make nice, extra money by winning these playoff games, but him being able to double his salary for next year is huge. So Barkley is my game changer.
My G2G protein bar game changer is going to go right back to Philadelphia.
First to throw. Near side, lets it rip. Brown! Touchdown! Really good throw. Obviously, going to Brown is one-on-one matchup. On Samer still, the rookie. Breaks on the outcut. And Samer still just backpedals too far to the end zone. If you're a young corner, you got to understand.
That's right. That's a Jalen Hurts touchdown pass to A.J. Brown. Thank you to Fox Sports. Jalen Hurts letting it loose, as he said, as he was 20 for 28, 246 yards passing. He had the 1 touchdown pass, as you heard right there. 3 touchdown runs in that 55-23 victory over the Commanders. You look at him in reference to the 10 rushes for 16 yards, a very confident, very poised, very accurate. That's the Jalen Hurts I think a lot of folks were used to seeing during the entire year, but his poise and the way he handled that game, I felt effortlessly makes him my G2G protein bar game changer of the day.
So you heard Tom Brady there. He's getting a lot of accolades today.
He should.
He's like, that was his coming out party, maybe. I mean,
No,
and he's had a good year.
He has,
as a broadcaster, but it just seems like there's been more conversation, I should say, on how he performed yesterday. I don't know why that is.
Because when he began, people just tried to skewer him because he's Tom Brady. And then the more that you watch throughout the rest of the season, and look, we all watch a lot of football. He's very succinct in breaking things down.
I was going to say that.
Yes, very, very good. And his terminology pretty much is in layman's terms as well. And so from that standpoint, I think people finally have come around to say, this guy's pretty damn good.
Well, I think he gets right to the point now.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
And, he's my favorite player of all time.
All time. Yeah, we know.
As he should be.
Yeah.
So Kevin Burkhardt yesterday says Giant fans might have a tough time sleeping going forward. And then Brady right away just says, giant mistake letting him go.
Yeah.
Way to throw that little quiver clip in there.
That was great.
That's kind of the stuff that you want.
That's
fair
fine.
or not, but he's calling out those Giant fans. I love it.
And he's going to work the Super Bowl as well. All right, let's get to my G2G play of the day. And unfortunately, it is the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, who played his heart out again, but it didn't work out the way that he wanted. Thank you to CBS.
On 2nd and 10. Down the field for the big ball to the end zone. And it is caught. Hans able to hold on.
So he throws for over 237 yards and that touchdown, and he still gets beat. Guys, he is 0-4 against Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs.
Well,
0-4.
Mahomes makes plays when he has to.
Yeah.
Josh just has not been able to make the plays. But you got to think back a couple years ago when they lost the coin toss. Never had a chance to make plays. They made plays to come back and tie it. And so as did the Chiefs did, but really didn't have a chance. I will say this, in watching Josh Allen, he did all he could do. And the last play where they blitzed off the corner, 4th down, and was a 4th down and 5, I didn't like the play call.
Yeah.
I mean, you knew that they were going to bring the heat, something over the middle, something short, but he scrambles and he just kind of flails it to Kincaid. Kincaid almost comes up with it, but it was kind of a helter-skelter play. I'd like to have seen something a little quicker because you know Spagnuolo's going to bring it. And there was really no accountability or no side adjust in reference to that. It's amazing he threw off his back foot 25 yards down the throw. If Kincaid makes the catch, maybe we're talking about the Bills upsetting the Chiefs. But I will say this, it's just him making the plays when he has to make the plays. They go for 4th down 6 times, only make 4 of them. And that 4th down and 1, I don't care what anybody says, that was a first down.
Yeah.
That was literally a first down. The one official was ahead marking it. The other official on the other side was behind marking it.
Yes.
So the review concluded that it was not a first down. I don't know how. Guy's 6'6". He broke the plane. He pushed it forward. Conspiracy theory? I don't know. That makes you wonder.
Here's my analogy for the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills, and in particular, the 2 quarterbacks. Josh Allen, if you relate it to horse racing, several years ago, affirmed, won the Kentucky Derby, also won the Belmont, also won the Preakness. Aladar was the horse that finished second in all 3 of those races. Could not beat Affirmed. Lost to him in a couple of races by like a neck. It's the same situation right now. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes.
Or I could think go way back when the Packers were always beating the Cowboys. The Cowboys are always the bridesmaids that could never really break through until they finally broke through at their Super Bowl going back many, many years against the, I'm going to say their very first one was against the, I'm trying to think what their first Super Bowl win was. Miami. Against the Miami Dolphins. For so many years, they could never break.
So let me ask you, is the Chiefs fatigue settling in with fans as I tell you this, that the tickets to get in the early ticket resale market for the Super Bowl, low end to get in, the get-in price is hovering around $4,600 per ticket. Last year at this time, it was $7,000. 2 years ago at this time when it was here in Glendale, it was $6,000.
I don't
$5,000 to go to Super Bowl is cheap. I know comparatively.
We understand
but,
what you're
saying.
saying.
It gets up to 10, 15 grand.
You think a lot of folks, you talk about Chief fatigue, a lot of folks are going, well, I've seen that act a couple times already. I'm going to stay home and watch the Chiefs. I don't understand this whole Chiefs fatigue thing. I really don't. I love watching the dynasty or the players year after year after year because my whole thing is, well, can this Eagles team finally knock them off? But when they don't, you go, wow, you respect the dynasty of what the Chiefs have done year after year after year because now guys are going, I can't wait to knock them off. So it's a good story to say, well, maybe the Eagles will keep them from getting that 3 in a row, and then we may not ever see anything close to this down the road.
So we've given away tickets. We've done, contests. You remember we did the wing eating contest, and we buy these. I've had to buy these big time trips, and typically it's a meet and greet. It's a tailgating party. It's some exclusive merchandise, all the travel accommodations and stuff like that. And normally it would start at around $10,000 per person. It's $6,600.
Wow.
That's a considerably
that's a big
discount.
drop.
Yeah, big drop. What'd you say?
Yeah, and it's in New Orleans, which is one of the best party cities of all time.
I think that may be one of the reasons.
I agree with that right there, Rock.
Because of
I think of what happened there. I think a lot of people are like, I'll save my money and watch it.
Yeah.
I'll hang out with Rock and Manuch and Jimmy B at Weekapaw.
That's a good. That's a good point.
Seriously. That's unfortunate because last year was Vegas, new stadium, and then we had it the year before, and obviously we love hosting big events here. I think we do a great job. So, yeah,
there could be a lot of that involved. I think, but I thought the first thing, Rock, was okay. Well, what happened right there on New Year's Eve might be a residue of the effect of things coming back.
Hey, if you haven't tried them yet, you're missing out. This is not your average stale, off-the-shelf protein bar. It's G2G protein bars. And what makes the difference with them, they're delicious, they're fresh, no preservatives, they're stored in the refrigerator. You can put one in your backpack for lunch, take it for a workout. They're a great way to get some solid protein and healthy fats into your diet. Check them out in the refrigerator section at Costco, or just go to the website, g2gbar.com. There's more flavors there. That's g2gbar.com. Coming up, we'll catch up with Craig Fouey.
From DraftKings at TPC Scottsdale. Feel the energy as you follow the action on 2,700 square feet of video screens. Take advantage of the beautiful outdoor patio, VIP cabanas, and fire pit. Experience DraftKings Sportsbook on a whole new level at TPC Scottsdale. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B at DraftKings at TPC Scottsdale.
Join the team at the largest towing company in the state, All City Towing. We're hiring dispatchers, call takers, lot attendants, drivers, and customer service personnel. Enjoy benefits like the state's most advanced towing equipment, set work schedules, a healthy 401k employer match, health benefits, employer paid life insurance, and a monthly fuel allowance. Ready to take your career to the next level? Visit us at allcitytowing.com. All City Towing, where your future is on the move.
The Harlem Globetrotters 2025 World Tour is here, and we're loving hearing from our fans that you love seeing us play. You love seeing the dunk, alley-oops, long shots, trick shots, the buzzer beaters, and all the cool tricks. And we can't wait to bring all our history and all the laughs. We're coming to Desert Diamond Arena on February 21st. Go to HarlemGlobetrotters.com for tickets to the 2025 World Tour, presented by Jersey Mike Sucks.
Over the years, Lerner Rowe has helped over 150,000 injured people recover billions of dollars for their injuries and over $1 billion in the last 5 years alone. What does that mean to you when you're looking for an attorney to handle your personal injury case? That means that Lerner Rowe is a law firm that not only has experience, but the proven results to recover money for your injuries. The insurance companies know which attorneys won't put up a fight. When you call us, we call them, and they know they have to pay.
Lerner and Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
Rock for WrightToyota.com. At Wright Toyota, they'd like you to get to know them. Their goal is to make buying your next vehicle the kind of experience that earns your recommendation to family and friends. They invite you to use all of their innovative web tools on WrightToyota.com. So if you're looking for a new or pre-owned Toyota, head to their interactive website at WrightToyota.com. The right price, the right selection, all at WrightToyota.com.
What's up, guys? Jason Payne, owner of State 48 Roofing. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook, hashtag Sexy Roof Status. At State 48 Roofing, we are family owned and operated, born and raised in Arizona. We'd love to give back to our schools and community. Contact us at state48roofing.com. What's up, guys? Jason Payne, owner of State 48 Roofing. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook, hashtag Sexy Roof Status. All of our work using state-of-the-art materials and 5-star workmanship. Our inspections are free. You heard me? Free. Go to state48roofing.com to schedule your free appointment today.
It's time for Fact or Phooey with ABC 15 Sports Director Craig Phooey. Phooey joins the guys each Monday to break down the top stories of the weekend. And as a reminder, Manuch writes the questions. Now here's ABC 15's Craig Phooey.
All right, Phooey, you ready to go?
Oh man, that sounded serious. All right, let's do it.
All right, we'll start with some NFL, and Chiefs head coach Andy Reid will go down on Mount Rushmore's all-time great head coaches in the NFL by now going to his 5th Super Bowl. So let me rephrase that.
Fact or Phooey? You want me to read it for you?
Well, Manuch, you wrote it.
Yeah, let me read it here, Rock. Okay,
Yeah, please.
Chiefs head coach Andy Reid.
That's not what it says. It says Chiefs head coach Andy Reid will go down as Mount Rushmore of all time.
Handle the blitz over there, Rock. Okay, he will now go on the Mount Rushmore of all-time great head coach in the NFL by going to his 5th Super Bowl and having won 3, possibly his 4th. Fact or Phooey?
Fact. That's a great question. I can do it with one word, fact.
Yeah.
Listen, Andy Reid's the winningest coach in Eagles history. He's the winningest coach in Chiefs history. He's up there with Bill Belichick in terms of overall wins and where he's at, and he just does it the right way. We can talk all day long about the officiating for the Chiefs and all that kind of stuff, but Andy Reid is phenomenal. He controls everything from top to bottom, what goes on, what the guys are going to eat, what they're not going to eat, when they're going to travel, where they're staying. And he has just done it the right way. He calls the plays, and he does a great job. He's got great talent. There's no question. He had good talent in Philadelphia. He's got good talent here, but he's phenomenal. And I'll tell you what, I'd say I knew him way back when, but I've known Andy for a long time, and he's just a great human being. And he had some time up here at NAU too, if you remember.
Yeah, let me ask you this: when you look at that Mount Rushmore, and Mount Rushmore, if you're going to put them in order, when it comes to wins, you got obviously Andy Reid there, you got Bill Belichick, you got Don Shula with 347 wins, George Halas with 324, Belichick's 333, and now what's Andy 301, 302,
301.
So, in what order would you put the coaches at this point?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I think you just in the impact of the game. George Halas is huge, right? Bill Belichick. I mean, I know that younger people, they don't know about the George Halases and the people that went before Don Shula's. I had a chance to meet Don Shula a number of times and interview him a few times. What a great guy he was too. Fun guy to be around. Tough coach. But maybe Halas, Shula, Belichick, Reid. There's some good coaches. I'll tell you what, some guys that impacted the game.
All right, Coach, question number 2. Much like Super Bowl 57, where the Chiefs won 38-35, the Chiefs-Eagles game will go down as another tightly contested game. Fact or Phooey?
Oh, man, I'm sitting in this chair right now on Monday after the AFC and NFC championship games. I'm not sure it's going to be a tightly contested game. I really like this Eagles team. My goodness, they are so tough. And to finish with 459 yards of offense, put up 55 points on the Commanders, rush for 229 yards behind Saquon Barkley's 118, 6 rushing touchdowns between Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. I don't think the Chiefs defense can stop that. Now, I could be way wrong because I thought the Commanders had a shot yesterday morning. Clearly they didn't. But I just think this Philadelphia Eagles team is clicking on all cylinders right now.
All right, Phooey.
Love that, Phooey.
Yeah. All right.
I'm with you, Rock.
You know Manuch writes these questions, so here we go.
Who does? Manuch?
Manuch.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys acknowledging that.
Maybe his wife is writing the question. Maybe that's it.
Well,
she would
could
be
get any
better.
worse.
Yeah.
With the NBA,
If I get stuck, she does. Hey, honey, come on in.
with the NBA's trade deadline next Thursday, it looks as though Nurkic and Beal, here we go, are the 2 most likely candidates to be traded by the Suns. Fact or Phooey?
In light of the latest article on Saturday in Nurkic, my goodness.
I'll tell you what, literally I was out, honest to goodness, I was out at Suns shoot around this morning and we interviewed Tyus Jones and And I asked him about Yusuf Nurkic. I asked him about Jimmy Butler, asked him about the trade deadline, all those kind of questions. What's going on? If you remember the article over the weekend with Yusuf Nurkic saying, I'm not trying to create any chaos. They have enough of that already. I'm like, what is he talking about, right? They have enough of that already. I mean, this thing's a mess. And basically my commentary today is they're a 500 basketball team.
Yes.
They're spending more than any team in the NBA. They're 44 games in, not 20, not 15, 44 games or over the halfway point. The All-Star break is 2 weeks away. They're a 500 basketball team, 23 and 21. So does it matter who they trade, who they don't trade at this point? My comment today is blow it up and start over. This is not working. Kevin Durant didn't make this team any better. Bradley Beal certainly didn't make this team any better. And a disgruntled Jimmy Butler coming in is not going to make this team better, not going to push them over the top. So whether you trade Grayson Allen or Yusuf Nurkic or Bradley Beal, however you do it, you got to destroy this thing and start over. You've backed yourself into this ugly corner financially. And I give credit to Matt Ishbia for putting all his chips in the center of the table. I do. He's gone all in saying money's not going to stop us, not going to prevent us. But it hasn't worked. And we've seen 2 seasons now since Kevin Durant got here. He got here midway through that 22-23 season. So he's played 2 full seasons now with the Suns, basically a full season plus 2 halves. Bradley Beal got in last year. I mean, it's just not, they're not enjoyable to watch. They're not fun. There's no energy. There's no toughness to them. They're a bunch of guys that are gym rats and love to go play basketball. And that's what they love to do. But we're paying them a hell of a lot of money to be 500.
All right, I think I'll know the answer to this next one. This is just how they're in order. After winning 7 of the last 10, the Suns have finally found their rotation and rhythm to carry them to the playoffs this year. Back to Fooey.
It's just Fooey. Come on.
Yeah.
Listen, I just in my story today, I'm talking about they've won 8 of the last 12, right? So 7 and whatever, 8 of the last 12. 7 of those wins, 7 of the 8 wins they've had in the last 12 games are against losing teams. losing teams. They now have the most difficult or one of the most difficult schedules to finish the season. They're not going to play a whole lot of pansies anymore. And even Kevin Durant said Saturday after the game, there's no easy game in the NBA. And, it's every game's tough and we'll figure it all out by the All-Star break. I'm like, by the All-Star break, that's 2 weeks away. I mean, you're 44 games in. If you haven't figured anything out by this point with the veteranship they've got, the veterans they've got on that roster and the guys that are playing, if you haven't figured it out by now, no, they haven't figured anything out. I mean, this is a crapshoot. They fired Frank Vogel. They fired Monty Williams before that. And now they got Mike Budenholzer, and it's the same story. It's a repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. I mean, if you've got to blow this thing up right now and find some leaders and find some toughness with this team. They don't have any.
All right, Coach, last question. More importantly, what the Cardinals must realize. Hang with me. Okay?
Let's
must realize,
must
in watching the NFL AFC championship games, is that they will need to draft a bona fide, legitimate franchise quarterback if they're ever to reach a Super Bowl. Fact or phooey?
A bona fide quarterback. Draft one, huh? Oh, man. I don't think this is a great year for quarterbacks. I don't know.
Okay.
I will say that's a tough one because you gave me too many options in one question.
Bona fide, legitimate franchise quarterback.
I know that part, and I would say fact to that, but draft one, I just don't know where you find one of those guys.
There's only 2 guys. There's only 2 guys. That's it. Shadur and Cam Ward. That's it.
Cam Ward. That's it. That's what you have in the draft. And other than that, it's not real deep. So how are you going to get one of those guys when you're sitting at number 16 in the draft, right? And I just don't know if one of those 2 guys is going to be your guy. Listen, it is the toughest thing to do is to find a quarterback. It's the most important position in all of sports at any level, and it's the most difficult thing to find. It's just they don't grow on trees. And so it's going to be a tough one. But, yes, the Cardinals are going to be – and I've been on the Kyler Murray bandwagon for a long, long time. I supported them drafting him at that time. I didn't like the Josh Rosen pick the year before. I thought Kyler Murray was a guy who's got great athletic skill. And you've heard me say it over and over again. I don't think the Cardinals have ever utilized his skills the right way since he's been here. He hasn't had a great offensive line. He hasn't had a lot of tools on offense to work with. But at this point, we've seen 6 years of Kyler Murray, and so I'm closing the door on it. That's like we got to move forward with somebody else.
Louis, thank you as always, buddy. Have a good week.
You got me fired up now, Rock. Now I got to try to settle down somehow.
That's my job, Coach. That's my job. Get you fired up.
That's ABC 15's Craig Fooey joining us here for Fact or Fooey. You can always follow him on his X page, Fooey on Sports. Coming up, we will get into the biggest coaching portal move in recent history. Plus, one coach is going to be on Jimmy Fallon tonight. We do want to remind you that we will be at the Taco Spot, 16th Street and Baseline on Wednesday for the grand opening. We'll broadcast from 1 to 4, and they're at 4 o'clock. They're opening up free food. Thanks to Lerner & Rowe. They're stepping up, and nice partnership there. So free food for you on Wednesday at the new Taco Spot, the Taco Spot, there at 16th Street and Baseline. And then afterwards, we're going to have a post party at Manuch's house.
Bring it on.
Seriously, why wouldn't you just do that for once?
Well, because I've got commitments on Wednesday night.
So if you didn't, we could all go to your house.
If we didn't, I'd invite you to
cook us dinner and
Oh,
everything.
absolutely.
Will you let us in the privacy gate for your neighborhood, or would you lock us out?
Give us the code. I give you the code.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Afraid to give it
we'll
to you.
continue right here on ESPN 620.
Now back to Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Now on ESPN 620.
Ryan Day will be on Jimmy Fallon tonight.
Okay.
He doesn't seem like a guy that would be good on national
TV,
television
yeah.
in that type of setting.
No, there's no.
He's a really nice guy.
There's no pressure on him. He doesn't have to be guarded. He's not going to get media type questions. It's going to be fun and games, and he won So I think he'll probably do pretty
Talk
well.
about just a great opportunity for Ohio State to get that type of exposure.
Oh, man, yes.
I don't remember the last time a head coach in college football went on Jimmy Fallon.
Did Deion go on at all? I can't remember him going on Fallon or even
Talking about national championship head coach.
Yeah,
Deion's different.
Yeah.
Deion's more of an NFL player, but did Saban go on with Jimmy?
I don't remember Saban being on. I don't.
There's not a lot of them that over the years have gone on to Kimmel or
Spurriers of
Fallon
the world or somebody like that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
he might surprise us.
We saw a coaching portal move over the weekend, which I couldn't believe this. Jim Knowles, who is the defensive coordinator for the Ohio State Buckeyes, has jumped ship and he has gone to Penn State. A 3-year deal worth $3.1 million per year.
That's incredible.
$9.3 million, making him the highest paid coordinator in the sport. Well, now, I will tell you, a lot of Buckeye fans, at least the ones I was hanging out with at Oregon, when they lost to the Ducks this year, they were calling for his head. They wanted him out. And here he is. James Franklin goes after him. They got the money. He's a Philly guy. That's probably one thing.
Mm-hmm.
That probably helps for him to go there. But I find that very interesting.
Oh, absolutely interesting.
Steal a coordinator after you just won a national championship. Now, I could see him going to take a head coaching job somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
That's typically the route people go, right? But for him to jump ship in the same conference,
I got to imagine there's some more to this. To your point, maybe he's a Philly guy, wants to go home, be there closer, because I cannot.
Still 5 hours.
Yeah, but I mean,
4 hours.
I can't see Ohio State not matching that off.
Maybe he and Ryan Day don't see eye to eye.
And maybe,
if that's the case, okay, I'll take something else.
Yeah, for $3.1 million. And I'm sure there's some bonuses tied to that.
Oh, sure.
And if he's closer to home, or he's going back to where he wants to go and be closer to home. And you're right, Rock, because I think a lot of folks were touting the greatness of Chip Kelly, what he did with the offense to bail out Ohio State's defense periodically. But, I mean, I sit there and think about that. And then Chip Kelly is now being looked at by an assistant or coordinator by some of the NFL coaches. And then we talked about that on Friday a little bit, Rock, that Chip Kelly is the prowess he had. He's conquered that animal as being a coordinator, and he's done a great job winning a national title. Now, if he goes back to NFL, you even said some guys are better coordinators than our head coaches.
Agreed.
And we said that the Kelly era, besides the first year of Philadelphia, playoffs, the next 2 years, he was going too fast. The players didn't like that. Now, if he goes back as a coordinator, because he's slowed his offense down, it's very attractive for pro teams not to get in that air raid kind of offense he had. Now he's becoming attractive as a coordinator, not a head coach.
Don't you think, though, with the success that he had at Ohio State, obviously not the Michigan game, but everything after that he's found his comfort zone? And wouldn't you think, with what we just discussed, with the defensive coordinator leaving, wouldn't Ohio State up his salary to keep him?
Well, I'm sure he's getting paid quite handsomely anyway.
I'm sure.
Matter of fact, they said I think he's the highest paid offensive coordinator in the land.
Okay.
To leave the UCLA contract, literally leave $6-7 million a year.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things he moved on, he knew he wasn't going to make that at Ohio State, and he knew that. He just wanted to get back to be a coordinator.
He wanted to be a coach.
Not deal with all the crap you got to deal with as a head coach.
Yeah.
Because some people say, well, why doesn't he go be a head coach again in college? He doesn't want that.
No.
He wants to be a coordinator. Now, if he's already fried that fish in college and won a national title, now maybe goes to the NFL. Maybe that's his last goal he has, is to go ahead and be a coordinator and win a Super Bowl. But you got to remember, that coordinator is tied to that head coach. So if you go tie your name to a head coach, you better make sure you got a couple of years as opposed to staying at Ohio State.
So as we get into our back pages from this morning, this one was a good one, New York Post back page. It's a picture of Patrick Mahomes and then a picture of the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs kind of going at it. And it says, Chiefs quest for third straight title alive as clown refs help out KC again. And in a big, big letters, 3-ring circus.
Yeah, they had that photo of them on the 4th and 1 where it clearly looked like he had a first down, and they called it short.
Did you think that the ball actually got there?
Absolutely.
You think because I saw him turn his shoulder, and I wasn't sure that the ball actually got
How
there.
about Kincaid, the play before?
Okay.
That was a first down.
Yeah.
And the ball got beyond. And they moved it back. And then he pushed the pile went beyond the yellow line.
The pile did.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure if the ball got there.
Well, the other official on the right side.
I saw where he
came in, and then the official on the left came behind.
Yes.
Now, the official that came behind had 2 guys blocking him. The other guy clearly saw that the ball break the plane.
Why didn't he overrule the other guy?
I think didn't replay official say
the replay official said that was the correct call.
Yeah, because he was going to. I don't know. I don't understand how the hell that happened.
Okay.
And how the hell that Kincaid didn't get a first down either.
Daily News has a picture of Saquon Barkley. Of course, this is New York. Says that's just super. Saquon gives Giants more sleepless nights with 3 TD games to put the Eagles 1 win from title. And he's got, he's doing the sleeping thing when he scored the last time. Yeah. This one's my favorite in Boston, Newsday. It's got a picture of Patrick Mahomes. It says 3-Pat.
Absolutely.
That's
good.
Awesome.
That's good.
Awesome. Daily News in Philly, Super Scoopers, Birds turn Washington fumbles into tickets to New Orleans. Also, Philadelphia Inquirer, Birds take flight in the Kansas City. Chiefs headed back to Super Bowl. Washington Post, run over, which is true. In Buffalo, the Buffalo News, super letdown, which was truly a letdown for them. So there's some of the back pages this morning.
Let me ask you a question because, I've covered a lot of Eagle games, and Rock, you have your affinity since that's your home area, but I don't remember, and maybe it's just because I missed it. I wasn't paying attention to the pregame shows enough if it took place earlier, but I had never seen them let an eagle
do it every week.
They do it every week?
Oh,
okay, then I just missed it.
It's funny you said that because yesterday someone said that to me too.
Yeah.
I walked in to the refreshment stand as that happened.
Yep.
And I stopped because I heard the national anthem, so I stopped. I didn't walk into the bar as the national anthem was going on. And that's the first thing someone said, "Oh man, that was so cool." I'm like, they always do that.
See, that's the first time I've ever seen it.
We've done it at Fiesta Bowl games.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the same eagle that's trained to do it, but it's
hey, can we borrow your eagle?
It's pretty cool though.
It is.
It is cool. Especially
great.
what the eagle represents.
Yeah,
our country and everything.
Yeah.
They've been doing that for a while.
Okay.
You think of this Eagles, team, you think, okay, the Philly special, they beat the Patriots.
Yeah.
They lose the Chiefs. And here they are back. So the last 5 or 6 years, don't downplay that the Eagles franchise or the team as well, too, how many Super Bowls they've been to in reference to the last 5 or 6 years. So that's their constant, too. Yeah, Nick Foles basically win that, but Carson Wentz started it, Foles win it. And then you've had Jalen Hurts, and here's Jalen Hurts again. So there could be another dynasty brewing whatsoever, seeing these Eagles and Chiefs going at it. If all things being said, and the Chiefs can continue to keep their core nucleus together, I got a funny feeling, though, that Travis Kelce may retire after this game.
You think so?
I do. If they win or he has a great game, I think he goes off into the sunset. But you got to look at the Eagles with all the young guys, Saquon Barkley. This is the next 2 to 3 years could see the Chiefs and Eagles, I believe, in another Super Bowl down the road.
There is a little bit of a weird issue that kind of popped up in the last 24 hours with the Philadelphia Eagle fans. Jeffrey Lurie, who's the owner, is a finalist to buy the Boston Celtics. Philadelphia fans can't stand the Boston Celtics.
Yep.
Interesting.
It'd be Jeff Lurie's. Eagles run that city. Right? It's number one. Hands down, NFL team runs the city. But there are a lot of fans that will really have a problem with Jeffrey Lurie buying the Boston Celtics.
They can't separate the football from the basketball.
No.
It's the principle. It's like a guy that has all the money in the world, go buy the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah.
Don't buy the Boston Celtics if you're a Philly fan.
So it's kind of like rubbing their nose in it by buying the Celtics.
You're not rubbing your nose in it. It's just you don't do that.
They have such a history between those two cities.
Doc and Bird. I mean,
yeah.
it's just there's so many
And
battles.
even before that, it was the Celtics who would always beat Wilt Chamberlain and the 76ers until Wilt finally broke through in 1967. But that was the real start of the hatred between those two cities.
I don't think Eagles fans will have any issues with him buying the Celtics when they continue to go to Super Bowls and win NFC titles. They'll put that. They'll go, oh yeah, he bought this up. But you know what? Oh, you think they're not going to show up to their Eagles game?
No, they won't
just because he bought the Celtics.
No, it'll be just a sour taste in their mouth.
It's just a minute of our show that I brought that to your attention. That's all it was.
I'm trying to tell you, winning cures everything.
Here's the thing that's a lot of people don't realize. Lurie was born in Boston. He attended a bunch of schools there, like Boston University. You know, he's worth $5.3 billion. If he wants to buy the Celtics, let him buy the Celtics. But there will be talk radio in Philly with WIP just going absolutely berserk over it. So hour number 3 is coming up. Frank Sanders will join us. We'll talk about the no calls and the bad calls from yesterday's game. Plus, you'll hear the local play-by-play calls of the Eagles and the Chiefs as we continue on from the studios of ESPN 620.
It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Now on ESPN 620, 98.7 FM HD2, and streaming live at ArizonaSports.com. The guys are powered by the law offices of Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. And now on your ESPN station in Phoenix, ESPN 620, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
Zeros on the clock. The flares fly skyward, and the Eagles not just beat, but annihilate the Washington Commanders 55-23. What a day, what a win, what a crowd, what a team, what a season, but it's not over yet.
Going to a knee. You can doubt the Chiefs. You can dislike the Chiefs. You can disrespect the Chiefs. You're going to have to deal with the Chiefs being the first team in National Football League history to win back-to-back Super Bowls and go to the Super Bowl for a chance for a three-peat. The Kansas City Chiefs have just done something that's never been done, and the Kansas City Chiefs Kingdom Rocket has gone past Pluto. The Chiefs win the AFC Championship 32-29.
Great calls by both local broadcasters, and we are now set for the Super Bowl. Welcome in, everybody. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. ESPN 620, 98.7 FM HD2 as well. We let Rock get out of here. The guy is scuffling along. He is a trooper. He showed up, Manuch, not feeling his best, so we kicked him out now.
Yeah, we sent him back to Sesame Street. He was snuffleupagus.
He was.
Snuffing. He was did a heck of a job showing up injured.
Yeah.
Took a couple of shots, got himself here. We said, just go home and get the heck out of Dodge. Don't want you getting us sick for the rest of the week. But what a great weekend it was.
It was.
I mean, that Bills-Chiefs game, it was, again, Josh Allen having a chance to get this team, the Bills, in line of a field goal to tie the game up. By the way, the spread ended up at 2.5.
Oh, it's already jumped from 1.5?
No. The spread at the end of that game.
Oh, in that game.
Ended at 2.5. How good are the odds makers that the Chiefs won by 3?
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
And here I'm going, come on, Josh. And Lori and I are sitting there going, come on, Buffalo. Come on, Josh. And to see that last play, Kincaid had a chance to catch that ball. And for number one, for Josh Allen to get that pass off under the heat he was, and I didn't like the play call.
I know you didn't.
I mean, the corner came off the edge and blitzed, and they were getting pressure, something a little shorter over the middle to keep them going down the field. They're at least get into field goal range.
But it was 4th down, so they probably felt they had to get at least to the stick.
Well, the thing was they only need was at 4th and 5, 4th and 6.
Yeah.
So they didn't need to have him drop back. It was a long developing play. And I felt if they didn't want trips and did something across the middle and maybe confuse this Chiefs defense and give it to somebody real quick. Otherwise, it turned into an elongated play because he had to scramble, throw off his back foot, get that ball to Kincaid. Still, for him to get the ball to Kincaid, to find him open on some of his kind of a quasi-post corner, to make that catch when he dropped it, I went, that's it, game, set, match. Even with that, they had their 3 timeouts.
They did.
The Bills.
They did.
And the Chiefs get 2 first downs on that last drive. And that last first down on 3rd down, for them to have trips left, everybody go to the right. Perrine come out of the backfield from the right, up underneath all that, and give it to him wide open for the first down. What a great design play. And Andy Reid wins another one over the Buffalo Bills.
All right, let me follow up here, because after the Bills were able to get past the Baltimore Ravens and Mark Andrews dropped that 2-point conversion, it was in the end zone, it would have tied the game. So Kincaid has a chance to make a diving catch, but I'm sure he's made them in the past, and it doesn't happen. Does Kincaid get the same heat that Mark Andrews got for dropping that ball?
It was a very difficult catch. The ball was behind him.
All right, one that Andrews hit him right in the hand.
Right in the hands. I mean, right there. I mean, that ball was right smack dab in the middle of the 8 and the 5, whatever his number is. This one was he had to stop, that being Kincaid, slow down and go back and catch it. So he got his hands underneath it, but it hit the top of his arm and popped off. Otherwise, I mean, it would have been a phenomenal catch. Just put it that way.
Right. Yeah, it's a diving
Where
play.
the Andrews one was just simple
Right
2-point
there.
conversion.
Yes.
Simple 2-point conversion. And so when you can't compare those two whatsoever. But the Bills needed to stop this Chiefs team. They had the 3 timeouts. If they could have got the ball or forced the Chiefs to punt at least, now it'd been a long way for them to go to get into field goal range.
But that's the key right there. They only needed 3 to force overtime.
And that was the whole thing. And then for the get those 2 first downs, one on the run and the one run, the passing, just the creativity by Andy Reid, guys coming out of the backfield, and to get a couple of throws to the left and to the right. And then for Mahomes to get that first down, to get that key first down, 3 first downs in the last, minute and a half or whatever it was just phenomenal. So, again, the Bills defense didn't step up when they had to. Bills offense doesn't step up when they had to, but I just did not like that play call that they had with that 4th down and 5 where the ball was behind Kincaid.
All right, Buffalo Bill boy. I know that you had a rooting interest.
Absolutely.
And rightfully so, since you played there. So now that Josh Allen, and everybody compares the quarterbacks, even though they don't even play against each other. It's one of the stupidest things I've ever seen, but that's what happens. Josh Allen now is 0-4 in playoff games to Patrick Mahomes.
Ouch, that hurts.
Okay. When you now are Josh Allen, and I know, Manuch, you were carrying the freaking clipboard. You weren't on the field that much, but you were there. How difficult is that going to be for him to overcome?
Well, I think that he's gotten him there. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
He's gotten the Bills there. He's 0-4. You can't discount that whatsoever. But even Josh Allen said yesterday, if you're going to win it all, you have to beat the champs. And I think he realizes that. And I think Josh Allen realizes I did everything I possibly could. Now, there's some things he'd probably like to have back. There's some things they'd like to do better, but it's a team game. You have to remember.
Absolutely.
It's a team game.
Yep.
That defense didn't get the stops when they had to, that being the Bills defense. The offense didn't make the plays. You can talk about the 4th and 1, which would have kept that drive going. That was clearly in my mind, and I think 90% of the country besides the Chiefs fans that thought that was a first down. But to really, I don't think it's difficult for him. I think it's frustrating that if he's going to win a Super Bowl, it's got to go through the Chiefs.
Right.
It really does. And if you're gonna be the champion, you have to beat the champion. And it's frustrating. He understands that. And at some point, maybe he breaks through, maybe not against the Chiefs, but for somebody else. There's still a lot of football to be played by Josh Allen and this Buffalo Bills team.
All I could think of was when he said that was Ric Flair. To be the champ, you gotta beat the champ. Woo!
Well, and I think
that's what I thought of immediately.
Yeah, but it's not just one guy, too, Jimmy.
I know
team
that,
game.
but I know it's a team game, Manuch, and you can preach that all day long. But what do people talk about on shows like ours and on national television shows? It's Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I remember. I'm going to go way, way back.
Okay.
Remember when the Packers were they're winning those championships, their first 2 Super Bowls. It was Don Meredith can't beat Bart Starr.
There you go. It started back then.
Or Peyton Manning can't beat Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Or John Elway can't beat so-and-so. But I know where you're going down that road, but it's extremely difficult. But yeah, I'd be fibbing to you if I didn't say it didn't bother, Josh Allen. I mean, after the MVP type year he had, and for this team to come so far, once again, that's extremely frustrating. But you just know that you gotta forget about it. You gotta come back to the OTAs and mini camps and get yourself ready for another year. And guess what? Management, if you're gonna fall short 4 times against the world champions, then you need to make some adjustments with either players, defensive players, to stop Patrick Mahomes, which is difficult for anybody to stop. So you need to make some adjustments on the offense. I'm assuming on the defensive side, so you can stop a guy with a minute and a half or 2 minutes left in a game, so you can get the ball back and try to get a field goal and tie the game up.
All right, so we want to remind everybody, this is it. This is the last chance you're going to have to get entered into our Twin Peaks Fantastic Tailgating Sweepstakes. It's all brought to you by Blue Moon and Coors Light. So right now, just text Peaks to 59925. You can do it every day. That's Peaks to 59925. You will automatically be entered to win an amazing grand prize, a Traeger grill, Blackstone griddle, pizza oven, inflatable screen with a outdoor projector, a cooler, multiple cases of Cocoa 5. By the way, there is no purchase necessary as well. So just text Peaks to 59925. Standard message, data rates apply, and enjoy all of the sports action at one of the 5 Twin Peaks locations. Manuch, where are we going to be Thursday?
We're going to be at the Deer Valley Twin Peaks out there in Deer Valley.
There you go. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, quick timeout. When we come back, the Suns have won 7 of their last 10 games, and they are still trying to come up with some sort of trade. We're going to dive into that right now following this quick timeout. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, ESPN 620, 98.7 HD2.
Tune in or
It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on their new home, ESPN 620.
Rebound, Grayson Allen ahead to Tyus Jones. Down to 3 seconds left. Jones into the lane, fading and hitting at the buzzer. Tyus Jones knocks it down inside the lane and puts the Suns up 11 through 3 quarters of play. Their second buzzer beater of the night.
And thank you to 98.7. That is the Suns Radio Network for that highlight. Welcome back in. We roll till 4 o'clock today. So now you have the Suns in action tonight. and they will play a team that is good, the LA Clippers. They also will play a team that has a big man in Vivek Zubac. Yeah, Connor gets all excited. Anytime you say big man, our producer and board operator, Connor, gets jacked, and I don't blame him. He's a big dude. 6'8".
Big dude.
Big 8, 6'8", probably 290.
Oh, Jim, he's probably pushing 7 foot. I mean,
You think he is? Okay, he's
absolutely.
close. He's close.
He's a big man.
Yeah, I know he is.
That's a big human being.
He is
Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. So, at any rate, Manuch, they are going to play a quality team tonight. What do you expect?
Well, after the glorified scrimmage they had against the Wizards the other night, winning that game 119-109, I would expect a team that's won 7 out of 10 to ignore the noise that is going on with this team, whether it's trades or not. Nurkic and the noise that they had to deal with his article that came out with Dwayne Rankin of the Arizona Republic on Saturday in reference to that he hasn't spoken to Mike Budenholzer in close to 2 months or something like that. He also referenced that the chaos that's within this Phoenix Suns team that they're kind of looking at. I took that as a couple things. Okay, he's been sick, he's been demoted, all the above. How much communication does Budenholzer need to have with them? I think he should. And as far as the chaos is concerned, I can think that's somewhat misinterpreted about guys going to the bench, other guys starting, and a lot of things that are going on around the team. But he said he's still going to be professional. He's still going to show up. He's still going to be that quality guy if needed. There wasn't anything that was an insinuation that there was a rift between him and the coach. But all that being said, Jimmy B, I think that the Suns team, hopefully, when you look at the Clippers, and you got Minnesota on Wednesday night, Golden State and Portland back-to-back Friday and Saturday on the road, is going to be another one of those weeks for a lot of Suns fans, or maybe the front office, to prove to them, okay, there's another week that we have to decide which way we're going to go when the trade deadline is a week from Thursday, February 6th. So I think that these games, maybe on a game-by-game basis, might be something which is going to tell them what they need to do. Now, we had Craig Fouillon, ABC sports director, talking about it. He thinks it's time to blow it up. This team's going nowhere fast.
What he said, yes.
And I think, well, okay, that could be, but you got the next 2 weeks to prove how fast are they going nowhere.
They've played 44 games. They haven't proved anything.
Okay, well, let me finish my thought here, Jimmy. Or have they made the adjustments? So have they made the adjustments or not? They won 7 out of 10. And to that point, they haven't really had the greatest teams. So here's another litmus test this week and next week going into the trade deadline, which will tell them, which I feel will tell them if they truly need to blow it up, make a move here and there. And if they do make a move here or there, does it improve their status to get out of the play-in situation they are now?
All right, here's my point then. And I disagree with the first part where you said that there's some uncomfortable things taking place. Look, here's what you have. You got Nurkic, who's on the trade block, and if they can find anybody who will take him. Bradley Beal, as far as we know, has not said anything about rescinding his no-trade clause, so he's just staying put with the Suns. So you are still at step one. You haven't passed step one at all. You have played 44 games. You're roughly a 500 team. You let the Wizards hang around for a while last night. You did not blow them out where you could have rested some players to get ready for tonight's game. Now you're going to play a legitimate Western Conference playoff team in the LA Clippers, who feature a big man in Zubac, Vika Zubac. He is a monster on the glass. As Manuch likes to say, he's a Windex guy. He's cleaning.
He's swiping.
He is swiping. And I want to see how they handle Zubac. I want to see what success they can have against James Harden, if any. And also, can they score at the rate that the Clippers score at? So this is going to be, for me, not a litmus test. It's a test to see if you can play. We know you can play against Washington. We know you can play against Charlotte, even though you lost to them on the road. You beat them at home. but can you play against the top teams in the West? Manuch, that's what I'm going to look for tonight.
And I think with that point, Jimmy, I understand what you're saying. I think that this next week and a half,
it's big.
It's real big. So at that point, if they can't beat the big boys, which you're alluding to, on a consistent basis, if you want to throw water on the winning 7 out of the last 10 or 8 out of the last 12, I get it. I understand it.
I'm not throwing water on it. It just hasn't been against the better competition.
We get it. We understand that. Okay, so now that you have your comfort in the rotation. By the way, Bill may start for Dunn tonight. Sounds like may not be playing in tonight's game.
Yeah, he rolled his ankle last year.
Matter of fact, I think he will be out. I don't know if Bill's going to start or not. He probably will. I think he'd be the odds on. So now that you're feeling it, or you've got your groove, and you got 4 games this week and a big back-to-back with Golden State and Portland on Friday and Saturday, and then moving forward, at that point, this Suns organization has got some big decisions to make.
I agree with that.
Does Matt Ishbia swallow his pride and say, I tried to make it work. I've got this huge payroll. Do I try to make another move and try to make this thing work by acquiring a couple players? Maybe I trade a couple guys. Do I really want to go pursue Jimmy Butler because of his attitude and the issues he has?
He's being a dipwad.
I mean, James Jones and the ownership and Matt Ishbia have some big decisions to make before Thursday.
I agree.
Do we pull the plug, or do we get a new battery, or do we get the jumper cables out, or you see what I mean?
I understand perfectly, yeah.
There's a lot of ors for this Suns organization. And I'm a stubborn Italian guy, as you know.
I know you are.
I'm a stubborn Suns fan, like
you are. Yes,
we've
are.
come this far. You know what? I'm not gonna turn the motor off. I'm gonna keep climbing this hill. I may wilt and slide back down, but I want to keep climbing so I can get to the top with a couple new faces, or a new face, or whatever that might be, and throw caution into the wind, at least for this year. What do I got to lose? That you make the play-in? That you don't make the playoffs per se, but you got to make the play-in
game, yeah.
All right, I'll chance that to try at least make the play-in, and devil may care. Who knows? If I can make it through that play-in round, I can get into the regular playoff situation.
The only thing that I'm really hung up on is at the beginning of the season, all of our conversation was about, this team has a chance to make a deep run. Don't know if they'll get all the way to the finals,
well, Jimmy,
but they
fairness,
could get to the Western Conference Championship.
The pundits said the same thing.
Yes, everybody said that.
Yeah, everybody.
Yes, they did. And it hasn't worked. And I can't figure out for the life of me why it hasn't worked. They can't rebound. Then they rely too much on Booker and Durant, and then other players lose minutes. And there's no solid rotation of players. They are still searching for that as well. I thought the Nick Richards deal was a nice deal. We'll see how he performs against a legitimate 7-foot big man tonight in Zubats.
You know, Jimmy, you bring up something. Do you think that we're starting to come to realization, too many cooks in the kitchen?
Maybe.
KD, Booker,
maybe
Beal.
I hate to say that.
Too many generals in the room, not enough soldiers in the room.
Yeah.
Because you bring this up, and I think of the Cleveland Cavaliers right now. The role players, good, solid, fundamental players.
Really good players. They have really good players, and then they have Donovan Mitchell.
Right. And we watched that game last week at DraftKings. By the way, we'll be there next Monday and Tuesday during the WM Open. You and I both acknowledge how frenetic they are getting up and down the court, defensively, offensively. You talked about Mitchell. Now, there's some good players on the team, but they're not household names.
No.
Besides Mitchell, I can't.
Donovan Mitchell, that's it.
That's about all you think of.
That's what most NBA fans would recognize. That's it.
But they play so well together.
Yes.
That, okay, you have it, I have it. You have, and there's no selfishness. Now, I'm not saying there's any selfishness with the Suns players. The mix just is, it's water and oil.
Mm-hmm.
It's not mixing. It's not Carnation instant breakfast with some milk in it. That blends, versus, I don't know, putting some oil in there. Just doesn't blend. But I sit there and think of all the successful teams that, okay, you got a player here, player there, aside from the Celtics, aside from maybe Milwaukee,
right?
Aside from even the Lakers. But there's
the Lakers beat the hell out of the Golden State Warriors 2 nights ago.
They beat the dog out
They
of them.
did.
But you know what I'm saying? There's just too many alpha dogs in the room, and not enough, and not enough guys to follow the way that
not enough really good players. To go with your stars. Look, I see where you're coming from on that, Manuch, but we saw that dog and pony show all last year. So we anticipated that it was going to be fixed and it was going to operate efficiently this coming season.
Well, I'll tell you why we thought it was going to be fixed. Because they added 2 point guards.
Yes.
Tyus Jones.
Yes.
And
Monty
Morris.
Yes.
We added 2 point guards. Now that's the final link
correct
in the chain to keep this bicycle moving down the road, right? Because for all you looked at it, but we felt all right. We got a legitimate. You look at Tyus Jones; he's coming. He's gonna be the guy. Monty Morris. Now we can allow these 3 to operate within. We got Nurkic down low. We got some kids coming off the bench. We got Plumlee to back them up.
Yep.
On paper,
yes,
this bad boy look. There's a shot. There's a chance they can go win the Western Conference. Did we not?
We did.
All the pundits thought the same thing.
I'm with you.
That's all I'm saying. It's frustrating for us Suns fans. I have no problem admitting that.
We'll see how well they play tonight against a bona fide Western Conference playoff contender. All right, everybody. Coming up next, Frank Sanders is going to be our guest. We'll dive into the AFC and NFC championship games. But first, Jax has got our local sports update. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, ESPN 620, 98.7 HD2.
Sanders caught it. Touchdown, Auburn. Frank Sanders from Dix. Auburn's ahead.
Frank Sanders joins Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B right here on ESPN 620.
Well, he's a man who always has a plan. That's why we get him on the show, the one, the only, former Cardinal Frank Sanders. You can follow him on X or Twitter at Frank Sanders 81. All right, in your wise wisdom, now that we have the Super Bowl combatants, do you have already a favorite in the game or not yet?
Yes, I do, sir. I have already plugged in my DraftKings pick for this week. I'm ready to go. So should I tell you now or should I wait?
No, you can tell us now.
No.
Huh?
Let's wait till next Monday, the week of the Super Bowl.
Well, I wanted to, I wanted to take Frank's advice to make a play.
No, we just got to tease the folks to wait till next Monday for one Frank Sanders.
I wanted to make money.
No, come on,
so
Jimmy.
ready, guys. I'm so ready. My parlay is popping right now. I can't retire, but I can get some new PXGs or some new Titleist golf balls or some TaylorMade. So I can put Sanders 81 on them now, man, without having to have Rock do it. So I'm telling you, my parlay looks good, really good.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be fair. We sent Rock home early. He was feeling a little bit under the weather, so we'll just have him because we'll be at. By the way, we'll be at DraftKings next Monday and Tuesday. Frank Sanders, if you want to stop on by and do it in person. Love to have you do it in person at DraftKings. You can just go right to the window right there.
You know what, brother? Let's see if we can make that happen. I hope I'm not at the office making $7.32 an hour, but if that's the case, I got to take a break.
You're making $5 an hour more than me and Jimmy are.
Man,
that's
you
for,
got
that's
that
for
right.
sure. Hey, you know what? Look at a couple extra Cardinals here. You look at Hollywood Brown and D-Hop and DJ Humphries for the Chiefs. And you look at him and go, boy, I kind of go, good for you guys. But then again, you go, well, why couldn't they do that for the Cardinals? Two different teams. Andy Reid, it's an organizational thing. But to see those three individuals getting their just rewards going into a Super Bowl, you got to feel pretty good for them.
You do, man. It's the NFL is one of those things, man. Right place, right timing. And these guys are all at the right place at the right time. All of them were needed at, this is the funny thing. Kansas City, two-time Super Bowl champs, needed all three of those guys. That's the part where you look at they needed receivers because they were hurt in that area. Hollywood Brown went there, right after free agency, but he got hurt and wasn't around for a long time. But they needed receivers, and they ended up getting D-Hops and your boy Brown. But you look at the last parts of the season where finally DJ shows up and he gets a chance to play, and it is a good thing, man, when you get a chance to play in the Super Bowl, no matter what happened, however you got there, whatever window you took, whatever road you took, whatever path you took. It's a blessing to be there, man. And the fortunate side for them is that they're playing at a good organization. They got a good defense and they got a good quarterback that they know is proven champions.
And on top of that, Juju's back. I mean, think about that, him being back in the fold. But what is it about this offense or this scheme that Andy Reid runs from a receiver's perspective, Frank, that you can appreciate and then you lick your chops every time you watch this system?
Man, it's attacking. It's just an attacking offense. You don't have to do anything special from a receiver position. You just got to go out and do you have to do your job, which is get open and give some room and windows for Pat Mahomes to make those throws. But look at it. You got one of the greatest coaches to ever play and one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever perform. And I think when you have those things, it just makes your job that much easier. I mean, you look at from where they come from, out of our situation here with a young Kyler Murray and a young coach and Cliff Kingsbury, both of those guys, everybody was trying to figure out what to do, what the offense is going to look like, who to stop, who not to stop. These guys went to great situations that any receiver can only dream of, and that's an opportunity to play with Patrick Mahomes and have Coach Andy Reid calling the plays.
Frank Sanders is our guest on the Right Toyota guest line. All right, Frank, here we go. Josh Allen is 0-4 against Patrick Mahomes when it comes to NFL playoffs. Please explain that quarterbacks do not play against each other. They don't guard each other. They don't rush against each other. But it is a case in point where in the last 15, 20 years, it's now the quarterback versus the quarterback. How do we get away from that, or will we now not ever get away from that?
You know what, Jimmy B? I don't think we will, and I think it's primarily because the quarterback sits in the shotgun. He throws the ball 50 to 60% of the time. He's also a running back right now. So if you look at Jay Allen, that guy, he can run the ball, pass the ball, throw the ball. He can block downfield. There's so many things that the quarterbacks in the NFL right now can do, and kudos to the NFL, right? Like you're talking about 32 NFL teams, and you're looking at probably about 27 really high caliber performing type quarterbacks in the NFL, and that's a blessing. It wasn't like that a couple of years ago. Well, we can look back probably 5 years ago prior to that, and it was just a changing of the guards of this new athletic style type quarterback. Now those guys are making 40, 50, 60, 70 million dollars a year. Jimmy B, it will not change. But when you look at Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes, it is just what you want to see is primetime television. It's mano a mano. It's who can get the ball in the hand at the last 2 minutes of the game or 52 seconds in the game. And you know the performance would be at a high level because both of those guys, they play at a high level, but one guy got to win and one guy got to lose.
Yeah, who wants to talk about the left tackle versus the right defensive end?
Exactly.
That has nothing whatsoever. Yeah, it's the fifth time they've gone against each other. Who the heck cares? Let's look at the quarterbacks.
And that's true.
You feeling me on that, Frank, right there?
I feel you 100%, bro.
It doesn't sell, right?
It does not sell.
You know, it's interesting watching Jalen Hurts yesterday. Well, there's Jalen Hurts we've been waiting to see from 2 years ago. This year, he finally is throwing the ball down the field. He's running effectively. They got design plays. And it was so interesting for him to say, hey, Sirianni finally let me loose or let the handcuffs off or whatever. And then Sirianni admitting, yeah, you know what, we kind of have held him back and there's been some strife. And this was all on the table. I'm like, well, why did you hold him back? Why were you so conservative? Did the Saquon Barkley situation mean that much to hold him back and allow Saquon to be the spark plug or shine? I just don't understand why now. It's great, but why now are you letting him loose?
You know what? I agree, man. It's a weird situation to hear both of those guys profess that when you get to that.
Admit it.
Once you get right. I mean, right. Admittedly, but you're in the NFC Championship, man. Like whatever it takes to win, it's whatever it takes to win. Seth Joyner, man, has his own podcast with the Philly Eagles, and all he's yelling about is win, baby, win, and that's all that matters. So at the end of the day, that's all that matters. But I don't understand why would you bring that up? Hey, watching Jalen Hurts the other day was absolutely special. I'm pretty sure no one probably took the over of 200 yards passing in any DraftKings bet with him because he has not proven to do that. 2 touchdowns, no one thought. It's just this guy was a totally different guy and the guy that you want to see if you're a betting guy and a fan of Philly. We have not seen that guy, and righteously and respectfully, we might not see him in the Super Bowl. They might bow down and make it a Saquon day.
All right. I know that you touched on this earlier, but I just want to go back to it for a little bit. Hollywood Brown. Also, you've got DeAndre Hopkins in the Super Bowl. Zach Ertz played lights out for a Washington Commanders team all year long, and they got all the way to the NFC Championship game. Now Ernst says that he's probably going to come back and play one more year. When you see things like that, Frank, and it happens on other teams, but it doesn't happen for the team that you played for and follow religiously, is that disappointing to you, or can you just let it go?
And let me add to that, Frank. That's a commonality about ex-Cardinals leaving and going somewhere else, having success.
Reddick.
Yeah. How about our boy Simeon Rice leaving and going to Tampa and winning a Super Bowl there?
Yeah, no, we got a laundry list of guys that have left the Cardinals and gone other places, man, and found themselves a nice home and the situations for whatever it is, it fit those guys. Like this is the funny part about it, right? Like it's you can get drafted to a team that's not ready for you, that don't know how to use you, or you don't match or you don't fit in in the scheme of the situation of thing. A la Hassan Reddick. We brought him in. They made him a linebacker when he was a defensive end. He finally got a chance to play defensive end his last year. He goes crazy here. Then he wants money and they don't want to pay him. Then he goes someplace else and you really see him explode. Larry Sanders, Tito Paul, Lomas Brown, Anquan Bolden, Leonard Davis. All these are names of guys that have left the organization, have gone other places. Again, sometimes the situation and the circumstance and the timing of when you're in the league makes a major difference. But then there's another part that comes into play is the organization you go to. Sometimes the organizations, the medical staff, the way it feels to be in those hallways, or sometimes the leadership causes you to want to play better. Something about the leadership sometimes. And I think that is just the caveat to it all, because we have stories with all these guys, Manuch, and I can tell you what, those guys I've talked to will come back and say, man, the organization, the leadership that was on the team, man, it was so much this, it was so much that, and it just matched where, like DeAndre Hopkins, but we're talking about 41 catches this year, but only had one catch in the AFC Championship, and now he's going to the Super Bowl. Like, that is something where it's just a situation that worked timing-wise, and then again, he's playing with one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Frank, it's always good, pal. We look forward to seeing you next week when we'll be at the DraftKings at TPC.
Hey, I look forward to it myself, brother, because I got to rub maybe one of the mantles or the trophies that's there for the DraftKings to get that mood, that juju on me, man, because I'm not winning. My parlays are struggling right now, and I need a vacation.
Well, maybe it's the Roc and Manuch and Jimmy B mojo at DraftKings next Monday. That'll help you out, big fella.
Look, all of the listeners right now, we all need to come and do a kumbaya with the three guys, man. Hold their hands and come out winners all the way around. I agree with what you just said, man.
Hold on. It's an Italian folk song. It's Goombaya, my friend. There ain't no Kumbaya. It's Goombaya.
Oh,
hey, that's if you do it from the Italian side. But if you're doing it
he's
from
sucking
the
on
Negro
spaghetti
side,
right
we
now.
are going kumbaya.
Hey, Frank, it's your world. We're just passing through, my brother.
Thank you, man.
Oh, man. Get a seat. Hop in the back seat, man. It's a nice ride.
I got you. Frank Sanders. There he goes. That's Frank Sanders, everybody. Presented by Twin Peaks and our fantastic tailgating sweepstakes right now. Just text Peaks to 59925, and you can do it every day with an opportunity to win an amazing grand prize. That includes a Traeger grill, Blackstone griddle, pizza oven, cornhole set, portable beer pong table, an outdoor projector with inflatable screen, a cooler, multiple cases of Cocoa 5. No purchase necessary. Just text Peaks to 59925. Standard message, data rate supply. There are more details at rockandmanuch.com. All right, when we come back, results of the State 48 Roofing It's Your Call question of the day, and also our Learner and Row one call. That's all. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. We are hanging out today. ESPN 620, 98.7 HD2.
You may not have any experience dealing with cars.
It's the Lerner and Rowe one call, that's all call of the day. If you're looking for a full-service law firm, just make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. Lerner and Rowe, voted Arizona's best law firm.
Hurts takes the snap. He gives it to Barkley. Barkley runs wide. Touchdown! It's third of the day. He's special.
That is Merrill Reese on the call. Philadelphia Eagles Radio Network, Saquon Barkley. And it is our Lerner and Rowe one call, that's all. Interact need a check. Just make one call, 602-977-1900. Always at lernerandrowe.com. And you get a free consultation. Again, Lerner and Rowe one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. All right, what's on tap tonight? It's presented by the Roc and Manuch Amber, brewed by Dos Equis. 7:30 this evening, Clippers and the Suns. You can listen on Arizona Sports 98.7. At 8:30 tonight, ESPN. It is college basketball. Iowa State visiting Arizona. Both teams are ranked. That should be a highly entertaining game as far as college basketball is concerned. And if we have time, and we do, it is our State 48 Roofing. It's your call question of the day for a free quote, repair, or installation. Just go to state48roofing.com.
Here's the question. Go to @Roc and Manuch on Twitter to vote. If Chiefs head coach Andy Reid wins his 4th Super Bowl title and the first repeat in NFL history, does he go on Mount Rushmore of all-time greatest NFL coaches? Again, just go to @Roc and Manuch on Twitter. It's very simple.
Okay.
Even Jimmy, you can handle this.
Okay.
Yes or no.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Connor, what's the latest and greatest there?
Yeah, so I'm looking here, and to my shock, somebody has voted no. I believe it might just be one person, as we got 86% to 14. Most people are on favor of yes. If Andy Reid does win another Super Bowl, this 4th one, and makes it a three-peat, hard to deny that guy from the Mount Rushmore of coaches in the NFL.
You think about it, a couple of years ago, these two teams played. They made the big to-do about Andy Reid was the all-time winningest coach in Philadelphia.
Correct.
Now he's got over 301 wins for the Chiefs, all-time winningest coach for the Chiefs.
Yep.
Then I think as far as that, Andy versus Philadelphia, I think that ship has sailed. I think now it's about two outstanding teams. He helped develop one. He's developed another. But when you look at Andy Reid and what he's did, where did he go to 5 consecutive NFC, conference championships? The success he had in the NFC East, one of the toughest divisions during that era,
right?
When Andy Reid was the head coach, then to do what he's been doing now since 2014 or 2013 with this Kansas City Chiefs team, to be that guy that's got him over the hump. That here they are going to the Super Bowl, 4 out of the last 6 years or 5 out of the last 6 years. Mm-hmm. Just the continuity and consistency. But the thing in the National Football League right now, I feel, is to do a three-peat in the National Football League is almost next to impossible with the free agency, the draft, the cap.
The cap, yeah.
I mean, all the above, and the way guys come and go. And a lot of guys, a lot of folks don't realize this. I think of Jones, the fine defensive tackle for the Chiefs, took somewhat of a little bit of a hometown discount to stay in Kansas City and have the chance to win another Super Bowl versus chasing the money somewhere else.
Manucci was sitting on the bench at the end of the game, tears just rolling down his face.
I mean,
how
was
emotional
so happy.
Was that?
And when you watch that, you just can't understand, folks, how emotional, number one, to go to a Super Bowl, number two, for him to go, you know what, I stayed, and I'm going to go to another one, and he will be part of folklore if they can win 3 in a row, and we may not see this ever again or for a long, long time just because of the things I mentioned. Those obstacles for a National Football League team, which is created, the league has been created for parity, and we're seeing it year in and year out. But it's always the usual suspects that are always there. It's the Chiefs. It is it's the Chiefs. It's the Eagles. It's the Rams. It's those teams over and over again. And when you see the parity come about, like, hey, 1 or 2 guys put Baker Mayfield in Tampa, they gave them a chance to win it all.
Right.
Then you look at the Detroit Lions having a shot the last 2 years to go to the Super Bowl. They went to the NFC Championship game last year against the 49ers. They ran out short this year. Now, they didn't make it because of the 4 turnovers. But if the Detroit Lions can make it, and look at some of the other teams, Tampa Bay kind of was getting there, and you see some of the others, then it's working. But it's working for the Chiefs to try to maintain that kind of high performance and continue to be at the toast and win championships. It's amazing what's going on in Kansas City right now.
There is NBA basketball tonight with the Suns hosting the Los Angeles Clippers. This is a Clippers team. They're not a great Western Conference team, but Manuch, they win. They find ways to win. They do have a legitimate 7-foot center in Zubats, who I anticipate is going to give Nick Richards all he wants and more down on the low block tonight. I look for James Harden to have a big game, and I want to see if those two things happen, how do the Suns respond?
Yeah, I agree with you, Jimmy. I'm sitting here thinking, okay, reality is finally starting to set in, right? I mean,
you're not playing the Wizards.
Yeah, you're not. You got the Clippers tonight, then Minnesota, who's I can't figure them out, Jimmy. You got them on Wednesday night, and then you got a couple back-to-back games on the road, Golden State and then Portland back-to-back on the road. On the road, back-to-back might mean a little something, but I agree with you. I'm going to watch this Suns-Clippers game tonight and just go, okay, do you have it figured out? You won 7 out of the last 10, 8 out of the last 12. Does that mean anything? Looks like Dunn's not going to play. I imagine Bradley Beal will probably start in his place unless Mike Budenholzer decides to put somebody else in there. You have the drama of the Nurkic article by this last weekend in the Arizona Republic by Dwayne Rankin, talking about he hasn't talked to Mike Budenholzer in the last, 2 months, give or take. He said, I don't want to talk about that amongst all the chaos. What does that mean? So there's some minutia surrounding that locker room of the Suns team. And as true pros, can they ignore it? Go on the court to see how they play against this Clippers team.
The Los Angeles Lakers have been trying to make a play for Walker Kessler, their 7-foot center with the Utah Jazz, and they just haven't been able to make that happen. If they find a way to secure Walker Kessler, I am going to then elevate the Lakers into those top couple of teams in the West, because he is a legitimate shot blocker, an excellent rebounder and defensive player, and can give you 10 points around the rim every night.
Yeah, that it's, we got till next Thursday, February 6th, before the trade deadline. By the way, this just came across. We were talking about Jimmy Butler sitting home the rest of the season. We figure, well, he's sitting home to the team's detriment. I should say to his detriment. Looks like he's going to lose $2.7 million, which means he's suspended without pay by this Miami Heat team, which meant that he has broken the code of conduct, that it's their right to go ahead and suspend him without pay. And I'm sure that Jimmy Butler will go to the CBA. He'll go to the Players Association and file a grievance for this. So Jimmy Butler, who will be sitting home the rest of the season. You know what, Jimmy? You sit home. Suns figured out without Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, I'm not in now. I'm off of the Butler bandwagon.
Hey, tomorrow I'll be joined by Kyle Vanden Bosch, former Cardinal and tight end Lion. It's our weekly GCU report. I'll have our analyst report, be our analyst for ASU, Kyle Dodd, joining us. And Arizona Republic comments, Bobby Mack, Bob McManaman, all joining us mañana from 1 to 4, right here from the Palatial Studios, Jimmy.
I know. I'm looking forward to it. Don't forget, college basketball tonight. Arizona hosting the number 3 team in the nation. It is Iowa State, who just ripped up ASU in the final 5 minutes of their game over the weekend and cruised to a 15-point win. That's on ESPN tonight at 8:30. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We hope Rock is feeling better. We will talk to you tomorrow. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B right here, ESPN 620, 98.7 HD.